like this is called the Pesky Report. Like,
welcome back to the Pesky Report, episode 571, presented by Beyond the Monster. I'm Jordan, joined by Jack. Brian might join us in a little bit. He's having a hard time putting his kid to bed. I don't understand, but I will, for sake of not being an asshole, say I understand. But Jack, how you doing?
Bad.
Yeah. You had a rough weekend at the Fens, as did the Boston Red Sox. But before we get into it, I would like to announce, I'm sure it's been the last episode Matt announced it initially, but this episode is brought to you by TJ Stats, advanced MLB stats and tools, including pitcher summaries, prospect rankings, and live pitch data. Head on over to tjstats.ca and use code PESKY for 25% off your first month. That is real, like a real promo, real ad read. This is not.
Is that your first ad read?
That's my first ad read. That's my first ad read. Did I do well? Did I do well?
I'm impressed. Very smooth.
Sweet. I appreciate it. Matt, I'm sure did.
I wouldn't even know I was being marketed at.
Yeah, it just came right out naturally, organically throughout the. Just did not force it whatsoever. But yeah, head on over to tjstats.ca and use code PESKY for 25% off your first month. It's a fantastic tool. And you can also follow him on Twitter at TJStats. He is a fantastic. I know that a lot of Red Sox fans for a little bit thought that he hated the team because he would always be like, yeah, Cedon's catch probability on that was like 85%. And people thought that he was like, no, Cedon sucks at defense. No, he's a smart guy, and he's, again, a fantastic tool over there. But yeah, so back to the matter at hand. And Jack and I spent like the last 15 minutes just talking about 2013 Red Sox and Jackie Bradley Jr. We were on a rabbit hole to try and avoid having to talk about the
off
present.
Season immediately following the epic highs of 2021.
Yeah, bringing back Jackie Bradley Jr. as everybody wanted when the 2021 season ended. They were like, you know what we need? A team that completely fell apart offensively in the ALCS. What we need is a guy coming off a season in which he slashed 163, 236, 261 with negative 1.7 F4. We don't want Kyle Schwarber anymore, but we want this dude who literally had negative 1.7 F4 with the Milwaukee Brewers.
When everyone succeeds with the Milwaukee Brewers.
Yeah, everyone goes over to Milwaukee and dominates. If the Red Sox gave Caleb Durbin back to the Brewers, just kind of like treating him like a pseudo Rule 5 pick, it's like instead of optioning him, we're just going to return him to the Brewers. He would be hitting 350 by the All-Star break if we're being 100% here. Jackie Bradley Jr. did not have the same kind of fate in Milwaukee. He did improve when he came back to the Red Sox, but that he did not have a good 2022. We don't need to relitigate that. we don't need to go any further down the Jackie Bradley Jr. rabbit hole. I'm still like freaked out about the Dwight Evans revelation we made.
He's so good.
Yes, but he was a Baltimore Oriole.
He was a bird.
I
didn't know that.
I have checked. I'm not kidding. I feel like I'm being gaslit by Fangraphs because I have looked at Dwight Evans' Fangraphs page so many times in my life. Every single time the Hall of Fame class comes around, because everyone talks about how Dwight Evans should be in the Hall, as he should be. I'm not disputing that. I check his Fangraphs page, especially compared to like Jim Rice, because they played at the same time. I have not once ever seen that in 1991 he played for the Baltimore Orioles. I'm convinced that this is like a blip in the radar, and like somebody went back in time and convinced Dwight Evans to play one more year after the 1990 season. That is ridiculous. He did not play for the Orioles.
No.
If Jackie had a chance to interact with him over the weekend,
I wish I knew. I would have
you
been
had
like,
known.
You were an Oriole? What was that like? Do you think Dwight Evans has ever been asked about his Baltimore tenure?
We need to get him on the pod and exclusively ask him questions about that year with the Orioles, because
I will say he was very nice, and I've heard from like people who work at the ballpark, like of the like alums and stuff, like Evans is like a genuinely very, very nice guy. Like everyone really likes Dwight.
Yeah, he seems it. I've met him a couple of times. He's always been nice to me. But like, do you think if we asked him about his Orioles tenure, he'd be like, "I played for the Orioles"? I think he would. I don't think he remembers that happening. How could he? And he had a good year for them too. I just don't.
He was solid. Like, yeah, nothing crazy, but I've seen much worse seasons. I've seen 2022 Jackie Bradley Jr.
Yeah, exactly. I would ask my dad if he remembers Dwight Evans on the Baltimore Orioles, but my dad was a Yankees fan growing up, so I don't think he one cares. Two, I don't think he was paying attention to that. I don't think 16-year-old Ken Leandry, not to drop the government on my father here, is like reading the newspaper and being like, "Oh my God, Dwight Evans is going for his swan song in Baltimore."
Oh my God, that team was awful. Like, I'm looking at the 1991 Orioles right now, and Cal Ripken had an 11 WAR season, and they won 67 games.
That is
with Cal
phenomenal.
Ripken having an 11 WAR season.
This is the most NPC roster I may have ever seen. I know Mike Devereaux because he's an ASU legend. I actually interviewed him for a story when I was in college. Leo Gomez, that's not a real person. Randy Milligan, could not a chance. This motherfucker's name is Cheeto Martinez, 124 WRC plus in 67 games. That's not a real guy. How long did he play in the league? I'm willing to bet it was like less than 5 years.
It was 3 years.
Exactly.
In year 3 was only 8 games. But he was good. What happened to Cheeto?
Yeah,
he has a career OPS of 775.
Did he get Casas? He may have gotten Casas. Like just a catastrophic injury and then just never played baseball again.
Yeah, because like he was like actually good is the thing. Cheeto could hit. What happened? Oh, he died.
Oh
no, he died way later. Never mind. I know he died.
Oh my
I saw death right on his Wikipedia page. Oh my God. That's why I didn't play again. But no, he lived to 59.
Oh my God. Thank God he died later because I would have been the biggest asshole on the planet. You're like, he died, and I just erupted into laughter. What happened to this man's career, though? Like, back to that. Like, we are avoiding the elephant in the room here.
Yeah, I guess his power went down, they're saying. And so he started like basically being only a pinch hitter by late 92. Then he played in April of 93 and never made it back to the majors and retired after 95 in AAA.
Huh. Justice for Cheeto Martinez.
Yeah, and then he died of a heart attack at 59.
That's awful.
Yeah, like prayers for Cheeto.
Yeah. Glenn Davis was on this team.
Big Baby?
Big Baby Davis. Billy Ripken was on this Orioles team.
He was quite bad.
Yeah, he was. There was a lot of quite bad.
He had a 515 OPS in 104 games.
Okay, so the Orioles had Bob Melvin was on this team.
He was
also very bad.
Yeah, but at least he was a catcher. Like, I can excuse a catcher having a 586 OPS much more than a second baseman having a 515.
The Orioles had two
Mike
players.
Mustino was a rookie that year.
The Orioles had 2 players on this 91 roster that had negative 1.4 F-WAR. I'm pretty sure this David Segui, I'm not even going to try and butcher this. I'm like 90% sure he was on the Red Sox at one point. Apparently not.
No.
Apparently not, but he was an Oriole 2 different times. So
yeah, he had 2 stints. Career OPS of 802, which I know it's the steroid era, but still, it's pretty good.
That's weird. He was a very bad Oriole. I mean, he had a decent 1993 season.
And then his return season in 01, he was actually quite good.
Yeah, in 2001, he had 10 home runs in 82 games. Yeah,
he had a 100 RBI season.
Was he ever an All-Star? He had to have been. No,
he had a 100 RBI season and hit 334 in 2000. That's not real. He hit 334 100
150. Where did he finish in the batting title race? We got to check this out. We are doing a Baltimore Orioles episode, but just on the
Just to
1991 team.
avoid talking about the Red Sox.
Well, because the series isn't over, so we can't actually recap the series because
until
it's
July.
not over till July. So we're going to be sitting here until mid-July talking about this 1991 Orioles team. Do you think Dorktown would pick us up if we actually did
Maybe.
that
So
for
he
2
was
straight months?
6th in batting average that year. Nomar won the batting title at 372.
Yeah, he was 10th in all of baseball. Who the hell is Jeffrey Hammonds? Played for the Rockies. Played for the Rockies. Hit 335 in 2000.
Let's see what his deal was.
He hit 272 for his career. Had an 8.3 WAR for his career. The steroid era is so funny. This guy hit 335 with a 529 slug, and his WRC plus was 110. A mix of cores and the steroid era. This dude got absolutely boned by the environment of 2000.
Well, yeah, that's how you see like the negative WAR Dante Bichette seasons, because it's like none of it's real.
It's for a guy like Dante Bichette, also former Red Sox. A guy like Dante Bichette, like it's refreshing because he's a piece of shit.
Yeah, he's a very bad man.
Very bad man. So when people try to prop him up, like as like the player that he was, like yeah, like numbers wise, like there's nothing bad about slashing 304, 334, 548 with 27 home runs, 95 driven in, 21 steals. Like that's a good year. 111 WRC plus, ball up top, check ball, piece of shit. He had 1.5 F4 that year. In 99, he hit 34 home runs and had negative 2.1 F4. Ball up top. Anyway, Red Sox lose game 1 8-4. Now let's actually talk about this game.
Yeah,
because
I had to sit through it in person.
You just sit through it in person. I only caught the last handful of innings because I watched Prada 2 on Thursday. We could talk about that now that we've both seen it, right? Like you saw it. Yeah. So we could make this a Prada 2 episode if you want to. But let's talk about Jake Bennett first, all right?
Yeah, who arguably should have been in the movie instead of Karl Anthony Towns.
Yes, I agree. That was the wildest cameo. Although I will say, and I know how this is going to sound coming out of my mouth. If there was an NBA player that was going to, like an active NBA player that was going to cameo in a fashion movie, it's Karl Anthony Towns. If we're keeping it a buck, that was.
It should have been OG Anunoby though because of Anne Hathaway.
That's fair. That's fair.
Him like going off whenever Anne Hathaway is at the game is a really funny bit with OG thirsting after Anne Hathaway.
Anne Hathaway's got the kind of longevity as like LeBron.
Yeah,
she's not aged
an all-timer run.
And I watched Prada 1 on Wednesday. To kind of like, well, I hadn't seen it yet.
Yeah.
But I watched it Wednesday because I'm like, I should probably have like an idea of who any of these characters are before going to see Prada 2. I mean, I guess it really wasn't that important. Like it wasn't like a sequel where it was really like a continuation of the story, but it's nice to have like the backstory.
Yeah.
Anne Hathaway looks the exact same.
Yeah.
20 years. LeBron James of acting. Anne Hathaway. Shout out. And yeah.
And she's never had anything like the Mavericks series happen to her.
No. No, she has not. She has never been clamped by JJ Barea. People and like she has a very LeBron-esque effect to her as well. Like you said, OG Anunoby goes off when she's in attendance. Like LeBron makes his teammates better. OG Anunoby or Anne Hathaway makes the players that she spectates better. And very, very similar. This is going to be a great bullet point. Anne Hathaway equals LeBron James. But yeah,
Jake cameo question mark.
Jake Bennett cameo. Every single bullet point's going to have something to do with Prada 2, except for the mention of Dwight Evans being a Baltimore Oriole, because that needs to be a bullet point. That's ridiculous. I cannot believe that still. But yeah, so back to Jake Bennett, who overall 5 1/3, 4 earned, 6 hits, only struck out 1, walked 2, just 5 whiffs. He was obviously much worse in this start than he was in his MLB debut. But I do think his stat line was a bit misleading. I mean, granted, like one of the runs he gave up was inherited because shout out Greg Weissert, tale as old
Terrorist.
as time. I, I,
He
I'm gonna have a.
doesn't today. I don't know if this is a new thing just for today, because when he came in today, he was not. There was no Italian music when he came into the game today.
So
There was
he's
on
just.
Thursday.
Has he pitched so badly that Italy has renounced his citizen, like
I don't
his
know, but
his heritage?
there was no Italian today. I was like, that's new.
Greg Weissert is no longer Italian. He's been
It was some
evicted
rap
from
song.
Italian
Like I
heritage.
wasn't familiar with it, but I was like, this isn't the Italian that I'm used to.
And he didn't allow a run. I mean, he didn't finish.
Well, it was a
the inning.
clean inning, is the
Yeah.
thing. Like, that's the thing with Greg. Not to jump to the Greg Weissert of it all, but it's like we know what happens, and yet we still do it.
Yeah, and it's crazy because they've talked about it. So like before this outing on Thursday, they've talked about how like Weissert's really struggling with inheriting runners, and there was the dialogue about Tyler Samaniego possibly getting more high leverage opportunities. I'm not saying that Samaniego should have been the guy that came in instead of Weissert. My point is anybody should have been the guy that came in instead of Weissert because Greg Weissert can't deal with inherited runners. This isn't even a new development either. It's not
No,
like
it's been his whole tenure.
it's been his whole career. Like even with the
Yeah.
Yankees, he was bad with inherited runners. Like there's this weird thing with the Red Sox, and it's having a fireman whose job is actually secretly like under the table. He's getting paid to spread the wildfire. Like Jake Diekman in 2022. Like what was Alex Cora? I mean, the 2022 bullpen was a travesty, in and of itself. I mean, Strahm was there allegedly for a lot of the season, but like Jake Diekman is the fireman, ridiculous. Like he makes Greg Weissert inherited runners look like Mariano Rivera. But Greg is awful with inherited runners. This is year 3 of him with the Red Sox, and they're still doing it. And they're losing way
The
more often.
definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. And it's now we're second manager and we're still doing it. And it's like, because it's one thing if like Cora is being stubborn about it and still doing it, which I disagree with, but at least like I'd be like, okay, Cora is being stubborn about this. Now we have a new guy and he's still doing the same thing.
Yeah, and I will say to Chad Tracy's credit, not just because it stems further. There's a lot to unpack with the new direction the Red Sox are going in. Like offensively, their numbers are basically the same as they were before everybody got fired. It's just the last couple of weeks, the league as a whole hasn't hit as well, so the Red Sox are higher up in the rankings over the last couple of weeks. But listening to Chad Tracy like talk about his process of like doing things has been very refreshing because Cora really didn't dive into all that. Also, they didn't really ask him, which I guess is another thing. And maybe that was out of respect for him, not like questioning his decision making. But like, I don't know, listening to Chad Tracy talk ball and like process and like why he goes to guys in certain spots has been really refreshing. And it actually has me excited, even if this year ends up being a lost year, which I can't really say it's looking like that yet because 2 teams that are under 500 would make the playoffs right now in the American League.
Yeah, the American League's a mess.
The American League sucks, and it sucks that the Red Sox are part of the reason the AL stinks. But like anybody who gets serious at this point will make the playoffs in the AL. It's just a matter of when the Red Sox, or if the Red Sox, decide that they want to be serious. But I've been really impressed with Chad Tracy. Just everything he's saying. He's saying all the right things and like trying to like justify his reason, like justify his logic behind making certain decisions, and that's been refreshing. And maybe I'm just falling for the shiny new toy. It's possible. But I don't know. I like Chad Tracy. I think he's doing a pretty good job so far, other than habitually going to Greg Weissert with inherited runners.
No, I agree with you. Like, not to get too sidetracked because I know we do have to actually talk about this game. But I've seen so much of like, oh, who's going to be the manager, and I've seen like a lot of like bring Torey Lovullo home, and obviously I think Lovullo is a good manager and stuff. But it's like I want to play out this year with Tracy, and ideally, like even if this season doesn't go that great, like if you see the signs you want to see from him and from like your key young guys, like I lean towards just removing the tag at this point in time, assuming things go well, because if you have a younger manager who connects with the players and is intelligent, which he seemingly is, that's kind of what all I'm really looking for right now. Like, I don't want to like mess with something just to tinker. Like, you shouldn't just do things for the sake of you need to do something. Like, if things are clicking correctly the way you want with Anthony and with Meyer and with Abreu and Crochet and the guys who you think are part of this nucleus long term, then just remove the tag.
Yeah, I think it's obviously because once they do it, they're stuck with it, and I don't want to say stuck with it like it's like
no,
a
I'm not
punishment,
saying do it this
but like
week.
they can't remove the tag. Like if they remove the tag, he's the manager for the foreseeable future. It's not just a matter of we don't want him looking over his shoulder for the rest of the season, so we'll remove the interim tag for this year and then hire somebody else or do that
No,
in the
that
offseason.
guarantees him at least through. We're in 26 right now.
Probably 28.
Yeah, that's through 28. Yeah.
Yeah. I think with Chad Tracy, I think that there is a chance like this. What's going to end up happening here is they're going to get to the All-Star break and then they'll like reassess where they're at. And if they're at least liking the way that the clubhouse is clicking, whether it's translating to wins or not, kind of is irrelevant at this point because they're 500 right now. I think they removed the tag from him at the All-Star break and one way or another. And I don't know. I mean, I do think I don't want to say FSG owes Breslow because they don't. Because Breslow, I still am not convinced that he's very good at his job. But I do think every lead executive has earned the right by getting hired to do the job to pick their manager. Now, maybe Chad Tracy and him don't align on everything. Nobody's ever going to. That's just life.
Unless Craig Breslow manages the team,
which is possible. I mean, they do look similar, so it is possible that Craig Breslow is managing the team. But we've actually seen lead executives manage teams. What was his name for the Marlins? He was their GM.
Oh, David
and
Sampson,
then
right?
Yes. Oh no, was that who it was? I don't remember. I gotta check this because I remember a GM for the Marlins being like randomly appointing himself. Was it Dan Jennings maybe?
Oh, maybe it was Jennings.
What year? Oh my God, what year was this? It was Dan Jennings. Man, I clicked no, there's no way. I don't think. Was it the guy after Jennings maybe? Who got hired in? No, because after Jennings was Mattingly. Yeah, Jennings just finished the 2015 season as the manager. And they went 55 and 69 with him. Okay. And then they brought in Mattingly. But yeah. So I think they'll remove the tag from Tracy probably around the All-Star break, but I do think Breslow's kind of earned the right to pick his manager because I still think they took that decision from Heim. I think it was mandated that Cora comes back, and I don't know. Like I still think for the 2021 season, because I was still a very veteran roster, I think that was the right decision going with Cora instead of Sam Fold, who I still believe was Heim's. Like if Heim actually got to pick the manager, I think it would have been Sam Fold. But yeah, Heim didn't get the opportunity to choose his manager, and I think that kind of sucked because I don't know. When you decide to pull the plug on Heim in 2023, I still think it should have been both of them. It should have been either ride it out with both of them, hope they can align, or fire both of them. But alas, here we are in 2026, and now we're in the Chad Sox era.
But Jake Bennett.
Yeah. So what did you think of Bennett in this game?
Not good. The control was bad, and when you're not controlling your pitches, especially against a team like Tampa, which is the infuriating small ball, weak single nonsense, and you get behind in counts, and you don't get into 2-strike counts, and then they get their blue pits, and you walk guys, and then they all start scoring. It's just a nightmare. Like, that's just who the Rays are. They have Caminero, who's obviously awesome, but beyond that, and Yandy's obviously a pro hitter, but besides that, this lineup's bad. Like, it is a bad lineup when I look at it. I see, Ben Williamson hitting in the middle of the order. I'm like, what am I watching? How does this team have a winning record? And I know it's the pitching staff on the whole because their entire pitching staff has been incredible to start the year. And Caminero's a demon, and Aranda's been good, and Yandy is Yandy.
And Simpson's been frustrating as hell to face. He's hitting 315 with a
he only played in one game this series, though. He only played today.
Yeah, and he pinch hit in game 1.
Yeah. But in general, I'm just like, it's frustrating, and I think he's gonna end up, or he already did get optioned back to Worcester, and understandably so because Ranger's healthy. But I think there's obviously potential there. Like I think he's talented. I think obviously they like the tall lefties with extension thing. But he's got to get the control, a little better feel for it. Thursday wasn't exactly a freezing cold night, so you don't really have that excuse going for you. It just wasn't a good start. And that doesn't mean he sucks or anything, but it was just a bad start overall. Like I was not enjoying what I was seeing.
Yeah, and I think the thing for Bennett, and that'll kind of I don't want to say make or break his career, but I think what will kind of keep him around for a while at the very least is he's got a tremendous feel for his changeup. That is something that was well documented in spring training, also throughout the start of the season in Worcester for him. In this start, he threw it 17 times. He got whiffs on 30% of swings and a 256 expected weighted on base average on contact. I know that the ex-Woe Bacon stat is everybody's favorite because it says bacon in it. That's according to, again, TJ Stats. Again, go over there and sign up. Use code PESKY, 25% off your first month. That was a much better promo than the first go around. But I like Bennett. I think he's a solid arm. I do think people got a little ahead of themselves when he pitched well against Houston, basically, because everyone's just excited for Brian Bayo to no longer be in the rotation. And I guess he technically isn't in the rotation anymore. But like
he's been Nick Pavetted.
Yeah, he's been Pavetted. I just I don't see Bennett giving them a better chance of winning baseball games than Brian Bayo does. I don't. And I know Bayo's been horrible this year, but I don't see it with Jake Bennett in 2026. Maybe 2027 and 28 as depth. Like, is he a better version of Richard Fitz? I think so. Is he a better version of Hunter Dobbins? Maybe. If Dobbins had like any sort of whiff ability last year, he might have been like a guy that they wanted to keep in the offseason, but I don't think he's threatening Brian Bayo's job just because Red Sox fans want him to. He's okay. He's fine. But he should have only had 3 earned runs. But Greg Weissert is
awful.
Just awful. It's just really bad. And like I'm at the point with him where like the Red Sox Red Sox relievers in general, I don't really feel very good about most of their bullpen. Slayton's back, which is great. So they have like 3 guys that I trust, like pretty much with my life, as long as they're on the field.
Yeah.
I trust with my life. The rest of the pen,
Watson's awful. Like
Ryan Watson stinks.
He's really bad. Like there's nothing going well with him. And I understand he's a Rule 5 guy that you traded for. So they like keep trying to force this thing to happen. But he is bad. There is nothing he does well. He has no command whatsoever. He just walks guys like it's nothing. He doesn't strike guys out either. He gives up hard contact. Like I know he can give you some length out of the bullpen, but it's like he's bad. Like I'm ready to just pull the plug. There's no way Tommy Conley is a worse option at this point.
Hey Brian, how's it going?
How you doing?
I agree with you, Jack. I mean, Canley, didn't he exercise his upward mobility clause? So he's no longer a member of the Red Sox organization. He is a free agent now, which stinks because he is better than Ryan Watson. I think Tavon Guerrero is a better option than Ryan Watson. I don't understand why. I get it. Like you're trying to make it work because, like you said, you traded for him. And you have to keep him on the big league roster, or they're not hoping he gets hurt. Like I don't think he's talented enough where they're like, oh my god, if this guy gets hurt, we can stash him on the 60-day. Hey, look out. He's not good. He's not a big leaguer. I'm not trying to say that he won't be one day. He just isn't one right now. And if you're really that desperate to turn the season around, he can't be pitching close games. Like by the time like the 9th inning rolled around, they were only down by 2, right? It was 6-4.
Yeah, I had hope, and then it was Ryan Watson, and it was Junior Caminero at the plate. I'm like, and sure enough, he hit one 750 feet.
Yeah, this dude's got nothing. Nothing productive for the Red Sox. Maybe when Tyler Uberstein's healthy, I know he threw a bullpen today. Maybe they'll do that. I mean, they just sent Jack Anderson down today or yesterday after the game. to call up. I don't even remember who they called up in place of him. Or maybe it was to activate somebody. I don't.
It was
To
to
activate
activate
Slayton. To activate Slayton, they sent down Jack Anderson. Jack Anderson's better than Ryan Watson. I mean, pretty much anybody else
You
that they
might
could
be.
use. No, let's not get carried away. Let's not get carried away.
Weiser of inherited runners might be.
They're the same. They're adjacent. I'll concede slightly. I'll bend the knee slightly on that take. Brian, I have a question for you.
Yes.
Do you remember Dwight Evans being a Baltimore Oriole?
Yes. So
You do.
So he was my favorite player as a kid. And basically he was on this dog shit team where him and Ellis Burks were leading the league and leading the team in home runs. I think they had 13 apiece because they were so bad. Like, so people go, oh, this team can't hit. I'm like, no, I remember teams that couldn't hit. And I think he hit 13 home runs. He could barely move. He was just a DH. And it was sad because he was such a great right fielder. And then they didn't bring him back. And I think it was the first time I ever cried as a kid because I'm like, he was my favorite player. And then he went to Baltimore. And he did okay there because he used to walk a ton.
Mm-hmm.
But like, you know, before they realized how valuable that was. So yeah, I think he played 1 year with Baltimore and then he was done. So
yeah, I mentioned this earlier. I've looked at his Fangraphs and Baseball Reference page so many times because every Hall of Fame season, it's like Dwight Evans should be in the Hall. And I keep looking at his numbers, expecting them to look different every time I look. I swear to God, today was the first time Baltimore 1991 was on his page. There's just no shot that has ever been on there. Before today, somebody went back in time. Somebody messed with there was a glitch in the Matrix. I mean, I was -9 years old when he played for the Orioles, so forgive me for not remembering this.
It happens.
But yeah, that's absolutely crazy.
I was at the game on Friday and we were looking at like first round draft picks the Red Sox had. And it was like some of them you've heard of, but other ones you've never, ever heard of. They never even sniffed the major leagues. Like we started in 65, and I think that was the first year, and it's like 66, 67. And some of the guys you've heard of, and then there's some guys like there were minor league guys that they used to hype the shit out of guys before Sox prospects, like in Pawtucket, that would be like a really big deal. And you're like, what happened to that guy? It's like, well, he sucks. That's what happened. But every once in a while you get guys. But yeah, the Fangraphs is really funny because I mean, like Ellis Burks playing for the White Sox, like in an outfield with Bo Jackson and Tim Raines. Like at one point, those guys were amazing, but not at that point, you know? So I mean, it's crazy how everything changes, you know?
Yeah, we went down a rabbit hole to start this episode with this Dwight Evans being like, we were looking at the roster. Like Bob Melvin was on that team with him. Billy Ripken was on that team with him.
And was the worst player ever.
Glenn Big Baby Davis, perhaps y'all remember him that are listening on the Celtics. He was on that Baltimore Orioles team in 1991.
Mike Mussina was a rookie on that team.
Mike Mussina was a rookie. I think they just missed Schilling. I think Schilling was the late 80s with the Orioles, and then he was with Philly by 91.
Well, Jordan was strange as the year before that in 1990. Wow, Clemens, his ERA was like 1.97.
Mm-hmm.
But if it was any higher than that, he wouldn't have won a game because they literally could not score any runs at all. He had to pitch almost like a complete game shot. I think he threw like 246 innings that year, something insane.
Oh, so he's very familiar with the 2026 Red Sox.
Well, he's so familiar with them in the fact that he didn't show up on opening day because he's like, I'm going to Worcester instead. He was like the only guy that didn't show up on the 86 team.
He knew what was coming.
Oh, he did. He's like, there's no way I'm going to be here for this, you know. But I was there. We saw, Wade Boggs was there. Rice was there. It was funny. You saw all the retired players. And then they also honored Dwight Evans at the game later on as like the, you know, legend in the stands. So I was kind of like, well, wait a minute. It's like he should be in the Hall of Fame as far as I'm concerned. But
I always find it funny when they do that legend suite thing and it's like always Jim Rice.
Yeah, well, because he's there. Yeah.
Yeah, he's always there.
Well, today I think was the first time I've ever seen it be Rico Petrocelli. I never have, like to my recollection anyway, seen it be Rico Petrocelli, but he was there today.
No, I'm trying to remember.
I've seen Carlton Fisk a lot.
Yeah,
I've seen Fred Lynn a lot.
Who else is there a lot? Eckersley, whenever he's in town, it's him.
Yep. Dennis actually will be there if he's around because he's on the West Coast now, but when he's local, he's there.
I've seen it be Trot Nixon a couple times. I've seen it be Trot a couple times.
I've seen it be Keith Folk.
Do you think we'll ever see Jason Varitek? Do you think we'll ever see that?
No, I don't think Varitek is coming around for a while. Maybe after Breslow's gone, which honestly might be next season.
Yeah.
But at least for 2025 or 2026 sake, I don't think we'll see Varitek around Fenway.
Right.
I think the deepest cut that I've seen is probably Trot Nixon. I would love for them to get again, we were talking about this before we started recording.
Right.
I would love it if they brought JD Drew out. I don't even know what that man is up to. He just retired at 35. Had a pretty damn good career, made a few all-star teams, had a couple years where he was in the thick of the MVP race, and then he just left without a trace. That man has not made a public appearance.
No.
I don't care if I'm calling it AI slop if there was a random time he was in public in 2019.
Right.
Since 2011, JD Drew has not been seen. There's no proof of life on JD Drew.
He had the weirdest career with the Golden Spikes Award in college and the Scott Boras agency thing, and then he was he drafted by the Phillies, but he didn't want to play with them, and he played with somebody else or something. I forget the whole backstory. And then people were throwing batteries at him. Yeah, it must have been in Philadelphia. They're the only people who throw batteries at somebody. And then I remember we got him, and it was sabermetrically he's amazing, but he shows zero emotion at all. And then he hit that was a grand slam or a 3-run home run in the playoffs. So I was okay, he's not that bad.
And then he threw a little, the tiniest, the biggest home run of his life, and all he could muster up was a little fist bump.
Yeah. Yeah.
What a psycho. He would love to play for Craig Breslow's team.
He would love to play for Joe Mazzulla.
he truly because the player that Craig Breslow wants as a position player is JD Drew, a guy who hits some home runs, doesn't strike out, makes good swing decisions, and has zero emotion, zero personality.
Plays good defense.
Plays good defense. JD Drew was a solid outfielder as well.
Yeah.
This is the exact player, and he plays the outfield, so Craig Breslow wants him even more because that's what the Red Sox need more than anything is another left-handed hitting outfielder.
What'd you guys think of the Peyton Tolley celebration where he's down by 3 runs, but goes bonkers when he strikes out Cabanero? Do you think Breslow was hey, turn it down a little bit? I don't like that from my pitchers.
Well, everyone within the Red Sox organization probably has a understanding of Peyton Tolley specifically on Mother's Day.
Yeah, that was the thing. Yeah.
Why he would be that animated, but also it was a 3-0 game in the 5th inning, and he just struck out one of the best hitters on the planet,
who already took him deep earlier in the game.
Well, that's the thing. That was the thing. Yeah.
So I have no problem with it. I'm sure nobody on the Red Sox side has any problems with it. I've seen a lot of people being incredibly nasty to if you want to be mean to the guys at John Boy, go ahead, because they're paid by Major League Baseball. They should know these things. But if a casual person that's not a Red Sox fan isn't aware that Peyton Tolley's pitching on Mother's Day and his mother passed away, I'm not gonna give them crap for that.
Right.
But I can see why he'd be a little extra animated today. And he's trying to fire up his team that has zero life because they are
the 2026 Red Sox.
The 2026 Boston Red Sox.
Jordan, were you there Friday?
No.
Okay, because it was we're looking at the scoreboard. It's 2 fucking hits. It's do something. And I know they hit some home runs, but it just it was so it was. I know they've had a tough year offensively all year, but then it's but it just where's the offense, and then it's oh, Yoshida's playing tonight, and it's swings at the first pitch in his first at bat, then he grounds. It's come on, it was awful.
Yeah, on the bright side, they got the best start of the career of Connolly early.
He was awesome. Great. Yeah.
He was fantastic in this start. And the Red Sox, and Red Sox fans have been kind of looking for this from Connolly for a while. He's had good starts.
Oh yeah.
But he hasn't really had a start where he exploded with his velocity late in the game. He hit 97 in the 7th inning.
Right.
On Friday.
Uh-huh.
He's really struggled with his command over the course of the year. Only 1 walk in this game, which is huge. Yep. His strikeout numbers have been fine overall, but 8 on Friday, that's pretty damn good. And obviously,
that 3rd inning in itself was just so impressive. The fact that after loading the bases with nobody out, the poise to get out of that thing, I've always really liked Connolly. I've even, been on record on this pod saying if I have to trade one of Early or Tolley, I trade Tolley because I think Early is a more complete pitcher at this point in time.
Right.
And like that outing on Friday was like the kind of thing where I'm like, yeah, I want this man in my rotation for the next 10 years, please.
He's a total alpha because like the ball's hitting the air. He's telling the infielders, no, I got it. Like that's like every single pitcher always is like, no. Okay, I'll walk off the mound. He's like, no, get on my way.
Like, if we just spawned 23-year-old Max Fried, I want 23-year-old Max Fried forever, please. And that's what I see when I watch Connolly early pitch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you guys hesitant though to give anybody like Breslow any credit for this?
Well, I mean, Connolly early was drafted by Chaim Bloom. Like,
Okay,
let's keep it
Yeah,
real.
Who I will always give credit to.
I will
we have
always
to go to
give
the
credit.
Brookline 10 and under soccer practices to congratulate him on that move.
Exactly. But I mean, the pitching infrastructure of this organization clearly took a massive step
Oh
up,
my God,
step forward with Breslow and company. So like, yeah, the arms they develop is a testament to at least the staff that Breslow has hired and the infrastructure that he's like rebuilt. Because with Chaim, like he brought in arms that were talented. Like it wasn't like some aversion to bringing in good pitchers.
Right.
He just didn't have the coaching, the infrastructure within the minor league system to like actually develop these guys. And then when Breslow came in, like if you could combine the two of them into one, you'd get a super GM because Chaim at identifying offense, phenomenal.
So what you're saying is if one was the assistant GM and one was the president of baseball operations, and imagine
you can
if they
really
both
flip the gas.
imagine if they both lived in the same state.
They both went to the same college. They
have the same initials.
They do.
Ivy League. Okay. All right. So I see a path here, Jordan. I see a path.
Yeah. Can we? Who would you guys trade to St. Louis to bring Chaim Bloom back to be the GM?
Roman.
All right. Next.
Is what's his name still with the Red? He must be, right? Romero. He's still with the Red Sox, right?
Mikey. Yeah. Mikey.
What? No. Who's
Eddie
GM?
Romero. Eddie Romero. Yeah.
So what's his role now?
I think he's just an assistant GM right now.
I mean, he was like he's a name, and they're proud that they have him. He does a really good job. It's him, and then who's the woman there that they all think
Raquel?
is amazing too? Yeah, they're like the ones that are like, well, I'm here because like I think Bet said that, or a couple maybe some of the Latin players are like because of her, right? Yeah. So I'm wondering if that's how that's still working now, or is Breslow kind of tunnel vision and kind of shutting them out? I wonder how that's all working. I haven't heard much.
I mean, based on the stories that have come out over the last couple of years about Breslow, it seems like his inner circle is pretty small. Like,
but my question is, I wonder if they're still in it.
Yeah, I can't imagine FSG would be like, these guys, you're okay to not have them in your inner circle. They've been around for so long. Like, I mean, they've been around since Breslow was a player on the team. So I would imagine they're in there, they're in his inner circle. But as far as like the rest of the front office, I have questions. I mean, like, I don't know, but it seems like for me, like it's been mostly the biggest disconnect was between Breslow and the dugout, which is why I think like they finally took a step in the right direction by making that change, and we'll see.
It feels like in general, though, that's been a consistent pattern, and it's hard to tell how much of that is just like what gets pushed as like the reasoning. But like we heard the exact same reports about Dombrowski, especially in 2019, that like the circle is tiny. He's only talking to like 3 people. Like that is why Dave must go now because no one knows what's actually happening. The circle has shrunk. And then with Chaim, there was never that regarding the front office, which is positive, but there was obviously that clear kind of not perfect marriage between him and Cora, though more functional than the Breslow-Cora relationship, but still wasn't, a perfect thing there, obviously, because Chaim had no say in the matter. But like, it is interesting that like, you're basically going back to like, and then even like before that, you have all the power struggles between Lucchino and either Cherington or Epstein.
Right.
So it's like, there's never been an actual functional front office in this city, even when they're winning. Like it's like things are good now. Like that just doesn't happen with the Boston Red Sox.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder how much of the ownership doesn't care as much is literally just Lucchino's absence from it. Because I feel like John Henry and like Tom Warner Henry obviously from a media standpoint is much less invested. Although that random thing that he released about like talking about Liverpool, like that, like talk about being tone deaf. Like the Red Sox fans hate you right now. I know Liverpool fans hate him too, but like the whole thing right now is Red Sox fans are chanting "sell the team," and he's like, I remember when that happened in Liverpool. It's like, yeah, they're still doing it in Liverpool. They cannot wait for you to sell the team. But I feel like the owner that was really the most hands on was Lucchino, and it always was Lucchino. And then when he left, that was when ownership kind of took a way more hands-off approach to the whole thing.
Right.
And it's not because those two changed anything. It's just Lucchino was no longer part of the equation.
Yeah, and that's not saying every Larry Lucchino decision was brilliant. I mean, he's the one who pushed Pablo Sandoval. That wasn't a Charrington call. That was a Lucchino call.
Jack, and it was also him or Theo, and then they picked Larry, and Theo was like, see ya.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? And then, so you can't win.
And Lucchino pushed for Bobby Valentine as well,
Yes.
right? Like that was a big thing, and obviously that blew up in the Red Sox face.
And then we traded Mike Aviles for John Farrell.
Yeah, what? Like
the lobster fisherman.
I liked Mike Aviles.
The friendly Mike Aviles.
Yeah, I remember.
I missed that letter. That was the best letter ever written.
Jordan, did they get into the Valdez sign stealing thing in the weekly show?
I don't remember if they talked about it, but like, it's just crazy for him to like get upset after like 2 solo home runs. Like nobody's relaying signs to Wilson Contreras or Willie Abreu. I think he just was bullshit that he was still in the game and just was like,
I wanted no part of him as a free agent, despite most of the year wanting him. As soon as cross-up gate happened, I'm like, I'm done with this guy. I don't hurt my narv. And no, I mean, I've never seen a manager ever say like, oh yeah, my player was completely in the wrong and the benches shouldn't have cleared until that incident.
Right.
Yeah,
Never seen that before. And all the time I've been watching baseball, I've never seen a manager be like, yeah, my player was completely in the wrong and was being an asshole.
Yeah, the last time I remember seeing, and like I'm sure it's happened since, but the last time I remember seeing a manager actually condemn one of his players in the media after the game was Yermin Mercedes in 2021 with Tony La Russa.
And that time the player was in the right.
And that time he was in the right. Like, I mean, they had Willians Astudillo on the damn mound. Like, let it rip, my guy. And Yermin Mercedes was such a great story. And I think it was 22 now that I think about it.
Yeah.
Early 2022. And like his career tanked after that. Like I will blame Tony La Russa for the reason Yermin Mercedes is a multi-time All-Star right now. But yeah.
And for the number of DUI arrests throughout this great nation.
Yeah. Blaming him for all of them.
He's half of them.
Yeah, that's fair. And the other half are Marcelo Zuna.
Another friend of the program.
Yeah. Oh no, we're not. We're not.
The All-Star break, Marcelo Zuna episode.
Yeah, he's right up there with Trevor Bauer as guys that he's in the fan club.
Yeah. Oh man, Trevor Bauer stands every time he pitches. Like a reminder that he's facing dudes who work at like Lowe's.
And like doing the most ridiculous celebrations after he strikes out like a 35-year-old architect, and it's like, congratulations, bro.
The no-hitter he threw.
Jordan, what about like on Twitter? I see like all the shit that Bailey has to deal with. Like these guys are trying to defend Trevor Bauer. And it's like they just like, oh, and she's like, really, like they have no leg to stand on. They're trying to It drives me nuts. It's like, he didn't get convicted. It's like, OJ was innocent. I mean,
yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's just like with Bauer specifically. Well, first off, I just want to mention that his no-hitter was so sad because like he's freaking out of the mound, like having like it was his World Series. Well, nobody else on his team gave a shit.
Yeah.
Like the guys on the infield are like shaking each other's hands, like so casual. Trevor Bauer's acting like he just won like his 5th World Series in a row.
Yeah.
But like the thing with Bauer stands that piss me off the most is they'll be like, oh, but it's okay for Marcelo Zuna to be in the league. It's like, no, actually. Like, I think MLB should have a 0 tolerance policy for domestic violence. Like, if Marcelo Zuna was kicked out of the league, I think the league would be in a much better place. Not just because he's a bad baseball player at this point of his career. He's a shitty human. And like, yes, I know Aroldis Chapman's got his history as well. If Aroldis Chapman was booted from the league for the domestic violence incident in 2016, good on MLB. Like, again, I think that they need to take this way more seriously than they do. And a reminder, Trevor Bauer is not banned from Major League Baseball. Nobody wants to sign him because he was the worst qualified starter in the NPB last year during a dead ball era. He had a 4.5 ERA.
Right.
So, like,
And
because
on top of that, like, and all of that is true and is correct. But more than that, he's such like he can't handle not being the center of attention at all times.
Right.
And when you're someone who is a bad person and you're demanding attention, no one wants to hire you to be getting all the attention while you are going to get that attention for being a bad person. Say what you will about Marcell Ozuna or about Aroldis Chapman or about plenty of the other very, unfavorable characters we have in Major League Baseball. They aren't constantly drawing attention to themselves about it. They're kind of just like showing up to play baseball because they know if they draw attention to themselves, this is going to get bad.
Mhm.
But Bauer has no concept of that.
Yeah, he it's like he doesn't have any. He doesn't know his place where he is, and he keeps bringing stuff up. Where I mean, Chapman, as far as I know, all his interviews have always been in Spanish, and it's always low key. I'm happy to be here. I like playing in Boston. And that's it. Doesn't talk about, anything. He just does his job, shows up, and that's it. And as far as Ozuna, I mean, I don't know. I've never heard him speak.
Yeah, I mean, these guys, like Jack said, they keep it about baseball, and that's really about it. And if you're going to if you're going to stick around the league, like, it's a big. I saw somebody compare Bauer to Colin Kaepernick the other day, and
my fucking God.
And like, I genuinely, and I don't think they did it in like this is a direct comparison thing. I think they were talking about a guy who just was like not banned from the league, but like there's like collusion going on to keep them from being on a roster. And like, if that's their viewpoint, I guess I can like see where their thought process is, but like, please do not compare Colin Kaepernick to Trevor Bauer. One of them kneeled for the national anthem to protest police brutality against African Americans, and the other one is a guy who got accused of sexual misconduct by several women, not just the one that everyone points out had like all the videos that came out and like the reports of like extortion and whatnot.
Yeah, the tax or whatever. Yeah.
Like several women have come out against Trevor Bauer, and again, for legal reasons, like he's not been convicted, so I cannot operate under the assumption that he is a convicted criminal. Yeah. He's not, but that does not mean he's innocent. And
it also doesn't mean you want him representing your organization.
And if he was getting blackballed, like if he was truly getting blackballed, he is well within his right to sue Major League Baseball. But the second he does, the findings of that investigation become public record.
Right. Exactly, Jordan. If he didn't have a leg to stand on, he would have sued him by now.
Yeah,
but it's the same thing with Kaepernick. Owners spend their money the way they want. And if they don't agree with what Kaepernick is doing, they're not going to give him a job. That's up to them. That's on them.
Yeah. I mean,
and Bauer with the same thing. But I think you can disagree with someone maybe politically, but I think it's hard to disagree with someone. It's hard to agree with someone who is sexually assaulting people. Like, you can't. There's no side with that. There's no like, oh, I'm going to side with that person.
It's just it's weird that this has become some sort of like political thing too. It's like. It's really a morality thing. Like, if
it's Twitter, it's social media, and like I said, I saw, people that are involved with our podcast kind of having to put up with people that are defending this guy, and that kind of bothered me a little bit. I just I don't know. It's I get 3 daughters, so maybe I'm a little more conscious of it now. It's Mother's Day.
Yeah, I've got 2 sisters who are teenagers. Like I operate like maybe some people who are just like seeing that like they don't have any women in their life other than maybe their mothers or grandmothers. I like their view of the world is different.
Sure.
But like, again, we're not talking about like he got a DUI. Like, if Trevor Bauer's biggest issue was that he had a DUI on his record, like he'd still be in Major League Baseball. Maybe not if he sucked, but like he'd still be in Major League Baseball. Like, he wouldn't have been suspended.
The Dodgers
for
wouldn't
2 years.
have like released him over that.
Yeah. Unfortunately, whether it's the Cowboys in the 90s or whoever it is or whatever league or Miami University, if Bauer was really, 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 really good, they might put up with it. But you talked about his MPB stats. You talked about some other things. It's just not worth it. It's not worth it to Major League Baseball. It's not worth it to the owners. It's not worth it to the PR campaigns. It's not worth it to advertisers who, I mean, let's be honest, it's all about the money. It's all about the money. And if they thought they could make money and people would spend their money with someone with questionable character, they would do it. But they've determined, 30 teams have determined they're not going to do it.
Yeah, the league is evil. Like they don't care about morality. They
Not at
care
all.
about
Zero.
they care about their bottom line, and
That's
they care about like the PR of it all. And
Yep,
if Trevor
that's right.
Bauer was truly a Cy Young caliber pitcher, which he was in 2020, while he was he admitted he was cheating in 2020, by the way. So like he literally to prove a point cheated in 2020 to win the Cy Young.
Right.
Which he
If he
shouldn't
was
have
at
even
that-
won anyway.
No, he
was
shouldn't have.
Darvish's award.
Yes, he should not have won Cy Young in 2020. But if he was at that caliber pitcher, like even the 2021 version of himself, which was worse than 2020, but if he was that kind of pitcher, he'd probably have a job right now. But he isn't that kind of pitcher.
Yeah.
And he's a crappy person. And like,
Yeah.
even if you want to take the stuff that he's accused of out of the equation, he's a dude that like a lot of his teammates did not get along with. He was constantly, vlogging in the dugout in the clubhouse, which is like, I mean, at the time, like Trevor Bauer used to be one of my favorite pitchers. Like truly, like I wanted the Red Sox to sign him after 2020. Like
Yep.
he was high on my list of guys I wanted the Red Sox to acquire, which is another reason why I think it's silly that people make this about anything other than the new information that we have. But anyway, we've talked about Trevor Bauer for way too long.
Yeah, I know, right? Jeez.
He might listen to this podcast now. We've talked about it for so long.
Do we,
But yeah,
do we
Red,
tag him?
no, please no. We will
No.
not be doing that. But Red Sox win game 2-0.
So you need to
Solo
make
home runs, those
Jordan, you need to make a clip of your transitions from random conversation to box score. Because it's like so there was, I know you guys are, I think one of you maybe, when they had the Private Parts movie with Howard Stern, there was a part where he's trying to get kicked off the air. So he goes on these long stories. He's like, but he had to do the weather every 15 minutes. So he's like, yeah. And then my grandmother died last night. And just the last thing she said to me was, oh, and by the way, the weather is 73 and sunny today. Like it was like, so he had like this big, deep story and then just randomly throw in like the weather every 15 minutes. And that's what it reminds me of when you do the box score.
That's how it is, because we go off. I mean, again, I mentioned this with Jack earlier. Like this series isn't over, so like we really can't do a series
Right.
recap until mid-July, because that's when they will play Game 4 of the series.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're just not talking about the baseball that's being played and just kind of like, oh, by the way, they either won or lost.
Right.
There wasn't, I mean, other than Connolly and then like the 2 home runs, there wasn't like nothing happens in these Red Sox games. Like the Red Sox play a very boring brand of baseball.
Yeah.
Like even their wins are boring. Like Connolly early, his pitching performance wasn't boring, but when you win a game 2-0 and you have 4 hits,
Yeah, 2 solo home runs.
Right. Jordan, did you say that Slayton's coming back soon? Did you say something about that or no?
well, he came back, he got activated today.
Okay, because I was out doing Mother's Day stuff all day. I didn't know. Okay, so he's activated today. And then Anthony is on the disabled list with the wrists.
Yeah, God
Inflammation?
only knows when he returns.
Okay, and then Contreras got hurt today too, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
X-ray is negative, but they're going to do more work tomorrow.
Okay.
On the
Okay. And then did Gasper catch a game, or he was supposed
yes,
to
and
catch?
he
today.
got a double.
Did he
Had
really?
3 hits
He got a
today.
Fenway hit.
Good for him. That's
He had
great.
3 hits today and drove in a run. Like
Yeah, because I didn't see the game at all, so I don't know. what
I was
happened.
very proud of Mickey Gasper. I hope his parents were there.
Yeah, I hope so too. I wonder how many. I don't know. Did he get a hit in his first game with the Twins last year? Because how many games with the Twins did Mickey Gasper's parents attend before he got his first hit? Like, were they still going to every game waiting for that first big league hit, or did they just give up after he didn't do it in Boston? Or are they just Red Sox fans? I know he's a local guy, right?
Yeah, he's from New Hampshire.
So like they might have just waited. They're like, you'll be back with Boston, and we will be there for your first game back
Let's go
with
to
the Red
game
Sox.
logs. Let's see how many. Oh yeah, first game as a Minnesota Twin in St. Louis. He got a hit. He went 1 for 3.
Yeah.
Of course, he did. It was probably his first at bat too, because
How are you guys on the? Are you guys ready to give the Trevor Story eulogy yet? Or are you gonna wait?
I'm ready. I'm ready to pronounce him dead as a player. When I did
My
this last
issue
year-
is like I am, but at the same time, like the problem is like with this roster, I'm like, oh my god, these infielders are so bad that like is the prayer that maybe Trevor Story does have a June 1st turnaround again for the second year in a row a better probability than IKF and Andrew Monasterio? Maybe that's kind of my issue at this point. Is like I know we talked about this last episode. This is where them pulling the plug on Christian Campbell, the second baseman, is infuriating. Because if they hadn't pulled the plug on Christian Campbell, the second baseman, then like there is a clear, okay, we can just move Marcelo over and bring Christian back. And even if Christian struggles again, at least there's like a hope that, if you give Christian enough at bats at the big league level, the talents will work itself out. But when the alternatives are IKF and Monasterio, and I like Nick Sogard probably more than either of those guys, but he's still, a utility guy.
Right.
It's like, I might be willing to just let Trevor have a bit more leash just because there's no ceiling with those guys.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
the thing.
It's
Go
just
ahead.
amazing that last year, the numbers that he had, because it was like, oh, he's going to get hurt. He's going to get hurt. And I think, how they do those things during the Red Sox game, they flash up like, some random stat about the guy.
Yeah.
And I think he was like the last Red Sox player to have over 25 home runs and over 30 steals and over 90 runs scored since like Jacoby Ellsbury did it or something crazy. And I'm like, that's not
Sounds
a
right.
bad year. So he's not that far removed from
Yeah.
being a decent player. But it's like you guys meant, like you talk about Jim Rice in 86, he was amazing. And then in 87, he just could not hit anymore. Like it went like that. It was overnight.
Somebody with Trevor Story's profile as a hitter is very difficult because it is like once it goes, it goes. Like
Yeah.
it's just there's no real saving it. Like he's not just going to magically improve his hit tool at 34 years old. He's a guy who's got incredible whiff issues. He does not command the strike zone very well. He is as good as he is at pulling the ball in the air when he does make contact, and he's not doing that this year. Now he did double today off the monster, so like I'll give him that. Like he did pull a ball in the air
Right.
with some authority, hit a double, scored a run when Gasper hit the single to follow. But he's just not like his at bats aren't competitive. His defense stabilized for a bit, but he
Right.
made a really costly error today that ended
I
up
heard
costing the
that.
Red Sox 2 runs, and it's just like I don't know. Like to Jack's point, once you pull the plug on him, you can't plug him. You can't plug it back in.
Right.
So if you pull the plug on Trevor Story and you're like, we're gonna call up, Sogard, and Sogard is just atrocious.
Yeah.
And like IKF is not a good baseball player. Like he shouldn't be on the team. Like when Mickey Gasper hit that RBI single, they panned to the dugout and I saw IKF and I'm like, oh right, he's on the Red Sox. And then my second thought was, why?
Yeah.
Like, why is he here? Like, I understand it's because they didn't have like the infielder. Then they traded for Durbin, but then it's like they signed IKF, then they traded for 3 more of them.
Yeah.
Because they got a guy on the 40 man that's down in AAA that's actually having a really good year for the Red Sox right now is Anthony Siegler, who's got, play a few positions. A guy that maybe gets an opportunity soon. But the Red Sox have made 0 changes to the position player core.
Right.
Like they call up guys when guys get hurt. So like Anthony's on the IL, so they called up Mickey Gasper. But like we haven't seen any DFAs. We haven't seen anybody just get optioned for being bad.
Right.
And that's to me is the most frustrating thing because it's like we tinker with the lineup, but at a certain point, a guy like Trevor Story isn't cutting it.
Yeah.
A guy like Jarren Duran isn't cutting it. Now he's shown some signs of life, but he's not cutting it overall.
Right.
Like at some point you got to change the personnel without it being like an injury inducing it. And it's like they're afraid of pulling the plug on Trevor Story and he goes to like, I don't even know where.
Milwaukee.
The Blue Jays. He goes to like the Blue Jays or something. Like if a guy gets hurt for Toronto and he gets picked up by the Jays and he goes crazy for them. Like they're operating like they're afraid he's going to go be good somewhere else, as opposed to just being like, all right, we'll be happy for him if he goes and he's good somewhere else. It's just not happening here.
I just like that. It's just like frustrating because it's like this thing where this is, and once again, it's a thing we've talked about at length almost every episode, is the roster construction is so weird where, it's like, someone who like goes grocery shopping and doesn't actually know what they already have in the house. And so like they just have like 8 outfielders and now Christian Campbell's an outfielder and all they have are outfielders and Nate Eaton's sitting in AAA despite like being a major league player as well. but they have no infielders. And so if you get rid of Trevor Story, who's been bad, he's been one of the worst players in baseball so far this year. There's no disputing that. But you don't have an actual solution to plug in if you don't have Trevor Story. So it's like it's just like this until Arias is ready, which, you know, hopefully by like September 1st, maybe Arias is an option.
That's what I'm getting at, Jack. I wonder if they're just like, we're just going to ride it. We don't think this team's going to go anywhere, so it's not worth pulling the plug because we don't think that if we pull the plug, they're going to be better. So we'll just, if Story has
I'm
in
fine
June, cool, you can trade
Story.
him, you can get something for him maybe or something. But realistically, he's going to have a good month, shit the bed in July and August, and then probably DFA'd, and then Arias comes up and he does what he does. I think maybe they're okay with that. I don't know.
I mean, they do need adults in the room. Like that's like that. Like this is a young team.
I'm terrified of Jaron being the adults in the room.
Yeah,
that like it scares me.
It scares me to a point with Wilson Contreras as well. Like I know he's at least been around. He's won a ring with the Cubs in 2016. Like so he's like got some experience, but he's been with the team for 4 months.
Right.
It's not like
there's no continuity, and and that's been, and we talked about this last episode, that like there's no continuity with the Red Sox over the past like 10 years, and as a result, there's no consistent culture, and it's kind of, you know, not to get off topic, it's what we saw at the end of the Belichick era with the Patriots, where like once Brady was gone and Gronk was gone and Edelman was gone and all these, you know, great players that they had in the past were gone. It was kind of just Matthew Slater left from the dynasty run. Like you can't just like expect the Patriot way anymore to mean anything because the guys who established that culture aren't there anymore.
Yeah, but those are generational players too. I mean, it's hard to have the Patriot way when you don't have the people who established it, and like you get the hangers on. I mean, I remember as a kid, you know, when it was like, well, Larry Bird retired, so now Kevin McHale's the captain. And then he retires, and then Robert Parrish is the captain. And it was like, all right. And it's like, okay, we're going to play the Charlotte Hornets in the first round of the playoffs, and maybe we win. I'm like, how the mighty have fallen. But before it was like, you know, you're going to win 50 games every year as a Celtics team, bare minimum. And you're probably going to get in the second round and probably the conference finals. That was my 80s. You know, that was every single year up until about 1992. And then all of a sudden it was like reality set in, and then it was dog shit for years. But that happens everywhere. That happens in football. That happens in – you guys are, you know, you remember when it was like from 2004 to 2013, where it was like, this is awesome. And then after 2013, it was almost like fool's gold. It was like shit. Ooh, wow, what's this? And then you had 18. You're like, oh my God, like everything. It was like, it felt 2018 to me was like the year when Moss was on the Patriots. It was like, this is just too good to be true. And of course they fuck it up.
Yeah, it's like, the thing that's been so frustrating about the Red Sox is the kind of like super high highs and very low lows. Like I understand that sometimes you bottom out. You have years where you think you're going to be good and you suck. Like 2012 was a year they thought they were going to be good and they sucked.
Yeah.
2020 was a year they were tanking. So like them being bad was an expectation. Like I wasn't thinking they were going to win 35 out of 60 games and sneak into the playoffs. I thought that maybe at most they'd win like 28.
Yeah,
they'd be like around 500. They were 24 and 36, I think is how they finished the year. Like that was not that was a bad team. We knew they were going to be bad. The problem is they keep building these rosters where it's like, yeah, if this goes right and this goes right and this goes right, they'll be like a 90-win team. But the problem is there's like so much gray area between the ceiling of the team and the floor of the team, and they haven't done a good enough job of like keeping the ceiling high and raising the floor. It's either they raise the floor and really deplete the ceiling, or they raise the ceiling even higher, but the floor is like it's like in hell.
How do you explain 2021 then? Like, what was that?
I think it was a perfect storm of a lot of things. Like, I mean, you get the juice of Alex Cora coming back. Like that 2020 was weird in and of itself, but 2021, at least fans were back, right? Erod was back. So you had like actual functioning starting pitchers. You brought in a couple vets like Richards and Perez, who obviously weren't great, but like actual legitimate big league starting pitching.
Yeah.
Like you still had JD, like Verdugo had a good 2020. So you had some hype there, like Devers, like you had Devers and Bogarts. Like that was a good, I understand that they were a Cinderella team, but like that was actually a pretty damn good Red Sox like lineup.
That's the most fun I've had in a long time.
The promise of Chris Sale returning at some point.
Yeah. Which was always every year had the promise of Chris Sale returning.
And then he fell off a bike.
Yeah, and then he fell off a bike.
I still think it's funny that they traded Sale, and then it was like, all right, You know, they were like, maybe we can spin Durant, maybe we can bring him back, maybe we can do something or whatever. And then what did he miss the start for the Braves in the playoffs? He was supposed to start game 1 and he didn't, and then they didn't even do anything. And now he's throwing what did he throw 99 miles an hour the other day? Or something
Yeah,
crazy?
he's a freak.
Yeah, that's insane.
He's a freak. Do we think what hat do we think he wears going into the Hall of Fame? I think he wears an MLB hat.
I think with the Fort Myers community college that he goes to, probably.
Oh, where did he go? Florida Gulf Coast, right?
Yeah, he went to, I think the park that he played at actually got flooded during that storm. He helped pay to rebuild it or something, I heard.
Confirmed good guy, Chris Sale.
Oh, I don't, he's got some weird injuries and he's made out of paper mache or whatever, but I mean, I've never heard anybody say anything bad about him.
Yeah,
ever.
I miss him so much.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
funny.
And I like that he's like a little unhinged, which you need. Like, I want my pitcher to be a little crazy.
Yeah, which is why Peyton Tolle is such a great, like he is a breath of fresh air. Like, even when he's bad, like, he's obviously had his bad starts at the big league level, but like he's crazy. And that's awesome. Like, at the very least, we know if Peyton Tolle has to be a reliever, he is going to piss off so many people out there, like probably even his teammates, because he doesn't shut up. But he is a psycho, and like you need that. Yeah. And then you have like Joe Cool over here, Connolly Early, who shows no emotion, Craig Breslow's favorite kind of guy. And they're best friends, which is like great because it's like the average male friendship.
The odd couple.
You got the psycho and the dude who like shows no emotion, but they're like this, and it's great. And
it's like why Batman and Superman get along. Like, you need that contrast.
But Jordan, isn't it funny though? Like, you seem like you know them so well, but what do we know about Marcelo and Roman? Like nothing. Just like Instagram posts, like
that they run 2-mans at Loco. I don't know.
But like personality wise, like you all like. I mean, like I'd much rather hang out with Peyton Tolle.
Dude, if I could get a beer with Peyton Tolle, the amount of stories, that guy, I mean, like he's up there with Casas in the sense of like I would just give him a microphone and not even ask him a question, just be like, just talk about something.
But see, here's the thing, Jordan. I guarantee you, if you got him in a room and asked him, he'd say sure.
Yeah.
Like he would think nothing about it. He'd be like, yeah, I'll drink a beer with you. I'll pay for the beer. I don't care. I mean, and he would do it and he'd leave. Trying to get a hold of those other guys, like they're these enigmas right now, you know?
Tolle's my age, so like that's the thing that's getting weird about like the state of like the Red Sox is so quick story. I think I've told this on the pod before, but when we got Mikey Romero on the first time, I messaged him in like May. He responded in August, so like crazy. But like we were talking and we were gonna be on the show, like he was gonna come on the show.
Yep.
I fell like deathly ill the day he was coming on, and I messaged him and I was like, so just full disclosure, because I know you've been talking to me, like I'm not going to be on the show because I'm dying.
Yep.
But the minor league guys are fantastic. He goes, oh, you're not going to be on the show? I'm not doing it then. And then he goes, no, I'm just busting your balls. I'm like, you motherfucker, dude. Like these dudes that are now, they're my age. They like talk like me, and it's like weird. It's just weird. Like we have the same kind of.
Are you old enough, Jordan, that you don't say low key every other fucking phrase out of your mouth?
I don't say it every other phrase, but that does come out of my mouth.
That like I talk to people, kids, whatever, that are like, you know, in law school or they're and they just randomly, and I'm like, you sound like the biggest tool when you just say that, like every other fucking sentence.
Imagine an opening statement where you just throw low key out there.
Yeah. These people like go to Harvard, MIT, and they're like, when girls call each other bro, it just drives me nuts. Pet peeve of mine. Pet peeve.
Yeah, my client low key didn't do that. Like low key.
Like,
it's kind of sus. You think he did?
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
I was the boomer in high school when like new slang came out. I'm like, what is this millennial garbage you guys are spewing? What is this nonsense? It took me like, I don't know. I think the one that stuck with me that I'll still use is fire.
That's fine, but that's harmless. But like low key just sounds like but literally there'll be two women talking to each other like they're 20 years old or 21 years old, like low key, bro, like really. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like what? Like, ugh.
People our age have a very bad grasp of the English language, and I blame TikTok for that.
Well, I blame TikTok and I blame the texting because people talk like they text now. Which
That's
is
fair. I definitely am
stupid.
guilty of that.
Yeah,
I am definitely guilty
it
of
makes you sound like a moron, but then you know these
that.
people. They're
Hey,
engineers. They're people that are very
Specifically you,
intelligent.
Jordan.
hey. No, I don't have a. I know I sound like a moron.
No. Jordan's great. I get
Dude,
that.
sometimes I'll read the comments. Like, we don't get comments on our YouTube very often, but like every once in a while when I do a show and I see a comment on the video, they'll like comment about the other hosts and like how great their analysis is, and I'm like, fuck me, right? Like, I think it's happened twice now when I've been on the weekday show with Matt and Isaiah. They'll be like, "Oh, I really like Matt and Isaiah's insights," and I'm like, "I'll just go fuck myself, I guess, right?" Like, my nothing I say. What am I doing here? You know?
Yeah.
What is my low key? What am I doing here? You know?
Episode title.
Episode title, low key. What am I? That would actually probably work. Given the state of the team. By the way, Red Sox lose 4-1.
We didn't even talk about it.
We didn't talk about it at all. I don't even. Who the hell started today? Why am I blanking on who started today? Oh, right, Tolley. I'm sorry. We already talked about Tolley pitching today, and then we talked about the other 2 games, and then we got back to it, and like in my head, it was like they did play 4 games.
Right.
He was supposed to pitch yesterday, and then they canceled
Right.
the game 2 minutes before the game.
So did you guys hear the thing about how, what was it? Tracy was like, "Oh, well, I don't mind Gasper catching him because he caught him in Worcester." And
Yeah.
Is he a decent catcher though, or is he a guy who just can hit and then he kind of plays catcher and they let him catch because he's a good hitter? Is that one of those guys, or like what's the?
Yeah,
I don't know much
Connor
about Gasper.
Murphy.
So,
He's not a catcher. He's
Okay.
not a good catcher. That was like the big thing when he was ascending quickly through the, like, he started in Portland in 24,
right.
and he was like mashing down there.
Sure.
And I remember the minor league guys being like, Mickey Gasper's not a catcher,
Right.
like at all. Like he will stand there, like he'll get back there and he'll compete. Like if you need him to catch a game, like he's not going to sink you. But like
Right.
if we ever at a point where, you know, Mickey Gasper's catching 4 games in a week, that start the circus music. I mean, they weren't saying that.
Well,
I'm now saying
the
that's
guy
my
in the Yankees
commentary.
there, Rice, he was a catcher when he was like a kid on the Cape, right?
Yeah, and he caught some last year, but now
He had a little bit
pulled the
this
plug
year.
on. Has he
Yeah.
caught this year?
I think
know they
like
have
2 games.
I know they have a scare on the roster, and obviously Austin Wells, who talk about a 1-year wonder as far as hitting goes. But Ben Rice, a freak, dude. Why do the Yankees spawn guys that are just like elite? Like,
Ian
all
from
the time?
Massachusetts.
And from Massachusetts. The Red Sox bring in dudes from Massachusetts, and there's Sean Newcomb and his 2.3 whip, and then he goes to, you know, the A's and he dominates. I don't know. The Red Sox are cursed. The curse of Marcus Betts. Did you guys see that? The graphic or the little thing at the bottom of the screen during Mookie's rehab? It said Marcus Betts. Why did we pull the government on him? Poor guy.
Until he gets back to the majors, he's not allowed to be Mookie.
Yeah. Oh, I feel another sneeze coming. I hope I can fight it off a little bit longer. What'd you think of Tolley today, Jack?
On the whole, he looked good. I mean, that pitch Caminero hit the home run on was just stupid. If you're not as good as Junior Caminero, there's no way you hit a home run on that pitch. Like, it was well below the zone, and he just completely golfed it over the monster because he's a demon. He's quickly becoming one of maybe the 10 to 15 best hitters on the planet. Like, he's just that good. And his defense is better this year. He's still not like a great third baseman or anything, but the defense is getting better. And like he could definitely be like a 7-WAR guy if that defense improves with how good of an offensive player he already is. And he's only going to keep getting better. Like, he's going to be in the MVP conversations in the American League for a long time. Caminero's that good. And then besides that, he totally got really screwed over by Story's error that was originally ruled a single, which was insane. I was sitting there being like, that is so bad. That is not a hit. But they did correct that, and just, he got singled out against Tampa, which is what they do. They hit a bunch of singles that aren't hit very hard, but they find a hole and, runs are going to score. I thought he looked fine. It's not his best start of the season, obviously, but like I'm not concerned at all about how Tolle pitched. And on the whole, the bullpen did their jobs today. Weissert had a clean inning, and Slayton looked good in his first action since being activated. So that was encouraging that the bullpen didn't throw up on themselves, which they love to do this season. So, like, the pitching isn't why they lost this game today. They lost it because there's no offense, and that's the consistent issue with this team. That, like, Mickey Gasper was the only person who gave them competitive at-bats today, and then they pinch hit Narvaez for Yoshida, which I'm like I know.
And he struck out, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was a long at-bat. It was like a 11, 12 pitch at-bat. It was a long at-bat. Like, Narvaez did battle it, but it's like, Narvaez has an OPS of like 597 or something this year. Like, Narvaez is not hitting. And his defense is so good at catcher that on a good lineup, on a good team, I'm okay with that because of how elite Narvaez is defensively. I really am. Problem is, this lineup sucks. So it's like it gets harder to justify it.
Right.
And I still like Narvaez. Like, this isn't an anti-Narvaez thing, but it's like, I don't care that it's lefty-lefty. Yoshida is going to give you a better chance than Narvaez, even though Narvaez is a righty. I was like, this feels really overthinking it, but it's clear the one thing Chad Tracy and Craig Breslow are very aligned on is hating Masataka Yoshida, which is frustrating because Yoshida's a good baseball player. He really is. And on a team that doesn't have many of them, I really want Yoshida to be getting opportunities because he's at worst, especially with Roman on the IL. Yoshida is at worst the third best hitter on this team, behind Abreu and Contreras.
Are you taking a break, Jack, from attending games? Did I read that right?
I might be. I'm now at 0-4 with a -13 run differential on the season, so I might have to take a pause for a second. I'm not saying it's going to be forever, but I am not anticipating going to any of these Phillies games because I'm a mess right now. And I got rained out yesterday, but at least I got to meet Ortiz and Pedro. But yeah, it was a nightmare series, and it's been a nightmare season every game I've gone to. I've seen one home run, and it was Wilson Contreras in the 9th inning doing, Chris Paul hits a 3 to cut the lead to 45. It's been bad.
Yeah. The worst thing for me is that Boylston Street onto Store Road Drive thing, where like the fence is. It's like bike lane city now, and it's just you get past it, you watch the game for 2.5 hours, and then you're like, oh shit, that's right, I have to get onto Boylston Street to get out of here. And it's like, it's not as bad as Foxborough, it's not as bad as TD Garden, but the timing couldn't be worse.
It sucks because I'm really tired of the Red Sox getting off to these bad starts every single year. And it's like clockwork. The last time they had a good start to the season was 2021, where they were the best team in baseball through like the All-Star break.
Right.
They were awesome in 2021. But yeah, I mean, the way that they constructed this team, and I understand that like roster constructions become something of a buzzword in Red Sox Twitter, but like it's really like they have 800 outfielders and 800 Isaiah Connor-Falefas on the roster. I think I brought this up. Maybe I don't know if it was on the weekend show. It might have been like last week's weekday show. I can't appreciate a player like Andrew Monasterio because there's 4 of him on the roster.
Yeah.
He's ironically got a higher OPS this year than Roman Anthony does.
Right.
And he's a competitive at bat. Like, he's not a very good hitter, but like his at bats aren't like throwaways. Like, he works, he grinds the count. Like he
had a nice double today.
And he can hit a little bit. Like, he's not he'll probably be like a 90 WRC plus guy. Maybe he'll run into like 5 home runs if he plays enough. But like, I can't appreciate him because IKF, Caleb Durbin, like those guys are on the roster. And if Mickey Gasper's now on the roster.
Nick Sogard.
Nick Sogard's in AAA. Anthony Siegler's in AAA. Like, they've got so many utility guys. Nate Eaton, I would consider a utility guy because he's got some infield experience. He actually played third base for the Red Sox a few times last year.
Yeah.
Like, they've got so many dudes who are just utility guys. I think the Red Sox sometimes forget that it's okay to just have a good player that plays one position and just, like, kills it at that position. Like, like we don't have to have like.
Well,
and
we do.
look,
His name's Willie Abreu, but that's
yeah, and Wilson Contreras at first base. Like it's
Yeah.
the year of the Willie. Unfortunately, the Red Sox only have 2 Willies on the team,
Yeah.
and the rest of the team is a
if
bunch
they
is this
absorbed
a good-
Adamas's contract, would he go off in Boston?
probably. It's the year of the Willie.
Jordan, is it a good year though that they're sucking, or is it a good year to be bad? Because I'm looking at these standings and like Tampa's 26-13, New York is 26-15. And there's only one other team in the American League that's over 500. The rest are dog shit. I mean, the Red Sox right now are 2 games out of the wild card.
Yeah, it's a good year to suck but the problem is because they are only 2 games back. I'm like forced to believe that they've still got a shot to like go on a little run. Like again, we're at the point in the season where it's like the first American League team that gets moderately serious is going to be the second wild card.
Yeah.
Like it's like the Red Sox. If the Red Sox
how bad is that for his Red Sox fans? Because Henry knows if they have a good, solid month, that they're in it. And
yeah, I mean,
playoff tickets, I can make money. The fools
on Tuesday, if they rattled off like 10 straight wins, and then just coasted 500 ball the rest of the way, they probably make the playoffs.
Yeah. It's gonna happen.
Yeah, but that would require scoring enough runs to rattle off 10 straight wins, which they are physically incapable.
I'm well aware. I'm just
as long as Jack doesn't go to 10 straight games, they got a chance.
One stretch of good play is all they need to do to make the playoffs. The way the American League is right now, because I mean, like the Blue Jays are going to figure it out as they get healthier. So they'll be a team, like they'll definitely be a team that's in the playoffs. So I shouldn't say that the first team to get serious will be the second wild card, because the Blue Jays will probably be the second or first wild card. And the Rays will be the other one because the Rays can pitch. The next team to get serious will be the third wild card. Just nobody wants to be serious right now.
You've got to think Seattle locks in at some point is the thing.
Yeah, and like I don't buy that the A's are actually a good team. Like I think they're a fun team. I just think they're going to be one of those teams that fizzles out as we get closer to like mid-July, like because they don't have the horses to go get like a legitimate like star caliber player at the deadline, and they need like a horse on the mound. I don't think they're going to get that. Unless they want to trade Leo DeVries for one, but I don't really know what starters out there that would.
Could I interest them in Jarren Duran
for Leo DeVries? Could you imagine?
Can you imagine that was on the table and they said no?
Yeah, right. Definitely.
Jordan, how good do the Red Sox have to be to make moves? Like, what do you think they're like at what, like 500 or, like right now, the 2 games out of the wild card, which if they were over 500 and the other teams were 2 and you're 2 games out, maybe you make a deal. It's way too early now. And you're right. There's so many teams in front of them. But like, I'm wondering, like, at what point do they make a move?
Yeah.
And then who was the guy that you mentioned the other day that you liked him?
Oh, Miguel Vargas with the White Sox.
Yeah.
I like him. He pulls the ball in the air a lot. Like he's weird because he's a guy who hits the ball hard, hits the ball in the air a lot, but his average is very low. He doesn't strike out. Like he's walked as many times as he struck out this year.
Right.
And he hits home runs. He's not a butcher at third anymore, which he used to be. And he's a former top prospect. Like he was a highly touted prospect with the Dodgers.
Yeah.
It just took a while for him to put together the big league level. I don't think the White Sox will actually move him.
Right.
But I mean, it's fascinating to monitor, but the White Sox are better than the Red Sox right now too. Which
the guy who I'm also kind of like monitoring at the moment, and I don't know if they trade him because he is still like on the correct side of 30, and it would cost a lot. I'm not saying you could do it cheap, but if Miami is going to listen on Otto Lopez, like I'm really in. Like I'm really in on Otto Lopez.
There's a bunch of guys, like I know that everybody, like the talk of Red Sox Twitter right now is Yordan Alvarez, because God forbid we just have like an honest conversation about guys that are likely going to get traded. Like, I mean, if the Astros sell, they have 2 position players worth a damn, and that's Paredes and Yordan. Yeah. And if they're like, they probably would be smart to trade Yordan Alvarez, but if they are putting Yordan on the market, there is going to be a bidding war of like 20 teams. I don't know if the Red Sox have the gall to win that kind of bidding war, especially, I mean, you asked what they'd have to be to make a trade. I think if they're still within 2, maybe even 4 games of a wild card spot come late July, they should buy.
Okay.
Breslow's gotta feel the heat at that point. If they're not in a playoff spot come July 31st, he's gonna have to get desperate. And I fear what a desperate Craig Breslow looks like on the trade market.
What does the package look like, Jordan? What does the package look like? How big?
For
You've already
Jordan?
seen a desperate Craig Breslow. He traded James Tibbs for Justin Matt.
Yeah, and he traded David Hamilton, Kyle Harrison, and Shane Drohan for Caleb Durbin.
Yeah,
After
and
signing
granted,
IKF.
in that case, that might just be an evaluation thing, though, and not desperation.
Yep.
Tibbs for May was clear desperation that they thought they could get either Merrill Kelly or that a last-minute Joe Ryan was going to fall into their laps.
Right.
And when neither happened, they panicked and just had to get a deal in before the clock expired.
Yeah.
Like there was at the time, there was no version of it where that trade works out for them, unless Dustin May wins World Series MVP.
So how big is the package for Alvarez? What is it?
Ooh, it's
starting at Tolley and Arias.
Yeah, so I think I was talking in one of my group chats because we had this like 3-hour long conversation about trading for Yordan Alvarez, and I think the Red Sox gonna have to trade at least 4 players to get it done.
Okay.
But 3 of them are going to be one of Duran and Rafaela. Sorry, not Duran and Rafael. Rafael or Abreu is going to be one of them. Tolley or Early is going to be a second player. Witherspoon or Ianson is going to be the third player. Then you're probably going to have to trade somebody it's probably like Godbout or somebody in that tier of hitter. And then one more pitcher, maybe Marcus Phillips, somebody in that tier of pitcher in the organization. I mean, again, we're talking about a bidding war. Like, it's Yordan Alvarez. It's not like
on a team-friendly contract.
On a team-friendly contract. Granted, I think it's just one more year, maybe a club option year for 2028. I think it's not you don't have him under control for a lot of time,
right?
But he's the kind of player that if you suck, you still want
2 full seasons after this year at $26 million.
Okay, so. Like that, and he's like in the prime of his career. This is like trading for prime David Ortiz, and he actually might be better, like as an actual hitter than Big Papi was. And that's saying that takes a lot coming from me because David Ortiz is my favorite player of all time. I really think that's going to be where you have to go with, and that's uncomfortable. But
that's
on the flip side,
Jack, do you do that move? Alvarez. Do you do that move, Jack? What do you do? Do you do it?
Not with where this team is right now, no.
Yeah, no.
Like, that's the thing. It's like, I don't think Yordan Alvarez is moving the needle, and I'm not confident enough in this front office and in the state of ownership at the moment that even if you do an Atlanta Hawks did at the deadline and get Anthony Davis and get Trae Young and kind of just like wait it out for next year, getting Yordan Alvarez and waiting it out for next year, I'm not confident that next year, like, you're going to put together the right roster to make it work. I wouldn't, as great as he is, and he loves hitting at Fenway, I wouldn't feel comfortable doing that because it's so much to give up for one guy that I don't think is going to move the needle enough.
Right.
I'm still doing it. It depends on who those 3 guys are. Like, as I said, it's going to have to be one of those 2, one of those 2, one of those 2.
Yeah.
For me, there are 2 players that are completely untouchable. 3 players that are completely untouchable when it comes to trading for Yordan Alvarez. Roman Anthony, Peyton Tolley, Garrett Crochet. Everybody else is fair game for me. For Yordan Alvarez. Now, obviously, there's a limit. Like, I'm not saying that if it takes 10 players to get him, then trade whatever 10 the Astros pick, other than those 3. But if it's Rafaela, if it's Rafaela, Early, Witherspoon, Godbout, and like Valera, I'm doing it, and I will one by one drive each of them to the airport. I think Yordan Alvarez could genuinely, he's a transcendent. I'm not even going to try to fix that word. He's that kind of
player. I get it.
He is a guy. He's a dude who like could theoretically finish his career with the Red Sox. Like, you could get 10 more years out of him. He's probably got 8 more.
Are you confident you're going to extend him at market value?
They will not extend him.
Okay, then like you're giving up all those guys for 2 years of them.
But none of those guys. None of those guys I brought up are even close to the caliber of player as Yordan Alvarez is.
But in the aggregate, they might give you more.
They might. But they also, but again, keyword might. Like I don't want to be like the whole like proven over prospect, but like we're talking Yordan Alvarez here.
Is it
versus-
completely inconceivable that Connolly Early and Cedar Rafaela equal Yordan in WAR this year?
That's probably not inconceivable, but I also just I don't know how much I'm buying. Like it's like as great as Cedar is defensively and as good as the strides he's taken offensively as well. I just don't know if I can buy him as a hitter enough to be like, yeah, I'd rather have him and Connolly in the aggregate over Yordan Alvarez. I can't get there. That is again what I think the problem with the Red Sox a lot of the time is they get behind in these games like 2-0 or 3 like today, for example. They're down 3-0 in the 4th inning, or maybe it was the 5th inning. 1st and 3rd, 2 outs. Wilyer Abreu comes up. And it's like, yes, Willier's a guy that I want him to launch. Like, he's one of the few guys on the team that I think can hit 25-plus home runs this season. But when you're down 3-0 in the middle of the game, making sure that it's at least 3-1 is huge. And obviously, you can only control what you can control. But he gets a 90-mile-an-hour bacon cheeseburger middle in, and he pops it up to Taylor Walls at shortstop. I think the problem that the Red Sox have right now is so many guys treat every instant like I got to have it 100th percentile outcome in this plate appearance, or this at bat will be rendered useless in the end. I think a guy like Yordan, like as great of a hitter as he is, as much of a potent power guy he is, he's a guy that in that spot, like he probably hammers that pitch that Nick Martinez threw like past the red seat. But I also think if he got a slider down and in, and he had to back foot it, he finds a way to, dunk that down the right field line, drive in a run, maybe find the corner and get a couple in. Like Yordan's actually a complete hitter. And I'm not saying Wilyer isn't, but I think a lot of the Red Sox, a lot of these guys put so much pressure on themselves to come through at the absolute most they can do. And it ends up screwing them because they end up popping out to shortstop.
How much of that, though? And I agree with you. But it becomes hard because like it's so hard to diagnose the root causes of things, because like how much of that is because this lineup is bad. And if it was a more balanced lineup overall, like let's say like not even with a guy like Yordan, but let's say like, they had solved the outfielder thing and everyone was healthy and they had either brought back Bregman or got Okamoto or someone like that, like would guys be forcing it as much as they are if they had belief that the guys behind them in the lineup could actually plate something, versus like, if I don't drive in the run right now, the run will not score.
Yeah, it's like you said, it's tough to diagnose the issue with this team because especially a guy like Wilyer, I mean, who hit behind him today? Was it Trevor? I got to look at the lineup again. It was Yoshida. Okay. And like Massa, as good as he's been, like he's been an on-base machine this year. He is not driving the ball at all. Now he's taking his singles, like he got a single today as well. I think he actually led off the following inning with a single. But yeah, I mean, I think it's reasonable that especially a guy like Wilyer, puts a lot of pressure on himself to be the guy because somebody has to be the guy. And like last year, it was nice because they had a pretty solid lineup around everybody. But like a guy like Trevor Story was an RBI machine last year. You're getting nothing out of him this year. Absolutely nothing.
Right.
At least for like a little bit, it was kind of funny because like when runners were on, he was hitting. When guys weren't on, he wasn't hitting. So it was like, I think he had like a 40 WRC plus at one point, but was like 3rd in the league in RBIs. Like that was hysterical. I don't think he's driven in a run since. But yeah, I mean, it's tough, but like you add a guy like Yordan to the lineup. And again, I'm operating under the assumption that the outfielder they trade is Cedar here, which I mean, I know that means you're throwing Duran back in center field, but also too, like if we're at a point with you trade Cedar, again, in this hypothetical, like I'm not trading Cedar for the sake of trading him. It's Yordan Alvarez in this hypothetical. How much better is Jarren Duran knowing he doesn't have to look over his shoulder, anticipating that his agent's going to come and tap him and be like, hey, you just got traded to God only knows where in baseball. Like I can't imagine that that's a comfortable environment for him to be in because he probably feels like the odd man out. So, like, you're getting a better version of Jarren Duran just by
there can't be a worse version of Jarren Duran.
You want to bet? I think.
Well, just you wait and see.
You want to bet? we haven't even talked about the latest thing that he did. He deleted his Instagram, by the way, which is probably for the best.
Right.
Nobody loves talking about Jarren Duran more than people who hate him, by the way. I've found that
Well,
very
that's the
clear.
case with like any celebrity or any athlete.
guess.
You know, that the people who dislike them are going to be a million times louder than the people
That's fair.
who don't.
That's fair.
Jordan, I got a question for you, not because just while we're still kind of on the topic about Jordan. What did you guys think at the time and then after the fact about certain trades? And the ones I want to mention is the Chris Sale trade, right? Where it was like, okay, oh my God, Kopech, he throws 100, Moncada. It was like these guys were like, I remember driving to Portland to see these guys play, and I was like, yikes, like I don't know about this, And it was like maybe they shouldn't have used Benintendi or whatever, but then Benintendi was hot, and then we saw what happened to him later in his career. I think you always got to make the moves, and then people don't even remember. I mean, he did because he played for the Yankees, but when they get Martinez, Armas Jr. and Pavano were like studs in the minors for the Red Sox. I mean, they had to go studs to get Martinez, but those deals almost always work out in the team's favor. They're getting the veteran typically for the Red Sox. At least it has the big deals. But
Mookie Betts.
yeah, exactly. But no, but I blame Twitter now, and then other like people like Hunter who do these amazing clips of all these highlights. We get like emotionally attached to these A-ball and AA guys that are good players, but there's a jump between AA and the majors big time. So I think that when you ask somebody like myself or whoever, hey, would you make this trade? I'm really hesitant to do it, but I think if I kind of outside the box a little bit, and then kind of like how you're talking about Jordan, that's generational talent. And it's like, okay, I love Arias. I love what he's doing this year. But up until this year, it was like, he has the potential to be amazing. Now he has power. So people are like jumping on the bandwagon, like, oh my God, like he's going to play shortstop tomorrow. There's still a long way to go. So, I mean, I would do the deal, but it's going to hurt, but it should hurt if it's a valuable player.
Yeah. I like Jack said earlier, we're not sure how much of it is like just Breslow's inability to do the job versus player evaluation of just guys they've had in house. But like thinking back to the whole offseason where they were in those conversations about maybe trading for Ketel Marte, and the Diamondbacks wanted one of Tolier early. And like thinking back to like that point, and like, yes, like trading Kyle Harrison, like you have Tolier early, so it doesn't hurt as bad, even though
Right.
Harrison's having a great year for Milwaukee.
Yeah.
But had you traded one of them for Ketel Marte, then you have a middle of the order bat that plays second base. You don't have Caleb Durbin. You still have Kyle Harrison. And you still have two young lefties that are studs. And maybe Kyle Harrison never figures it out in Boston. Who knows? Like, we can't peek behind that curtain.
Yep.
But like, if we're gonna just take Kyle Harrison in his present form, stick him back with the Red Sox, and then just move like Duran and Early or Marcelo and Early to Arizona, and here's Ketel Marte.
Yeah.
Like, you still have those two young lefties. It's weird. Like, I mean, because guys also, like, just because we like them, we like certain prospects, doesn't mean other organizations like certain prospects.
Well, that's what I'm getting at. Yeah.
Yeah, like some Red Sox fans may look at a guy like Mikey Romero and be like, this dude absolutely blows, right? Like they might, and I'm not to disparage Mikey, love Mikey, 3-time Pesky Report alum.
Great guy.
I'm just saying some random person might think Mikey Romero sucks. But some random GM, well, we'll just for sake of argument say it's Jerry DiPoto because he loves making trades. He might love Mikey Romero and be willing to trade something very valuable for him.
Brian Wu for Mikey Romero, 1-for-1.
I'd do it. Like, I mean, who says no, right? But it's, it just because we view certain prospects certain ways doesn't mean other organizations do. And like, we're not privy to all the data that every single player has in the minor leagues. Like, just because, like, I saw Luke Heyman's getting a ton of hype because he's gone crazy the last couple of weeks, hitting a bunch of home runs. He's 22 in low A ball. He's got like an 825 OPS right now. So like, he's not having a crazy good year, but like, somebody might be looking at Luke Heyman's like exit velos, and he's like, he may be unk in low A, but like, he is mashing the baseball. He's just not getting the results. So I don't know. It's a tough balancing act. But when we're talking about a guy like Yordan Alvarez, you gotta get really uncomfy, especially when you've got 20 might have been embellishing it. It's probably more like 12 teams that'll be gunning for him if he's truly available.
Mm.
But you're going to have to get stupid to get him. And I would get stupid for him because I think Jordan's a top 3 hitter in the entire sport. And like a guy like that can carry your lineup.
So would you say there's about a 75% chance he ends up on the Dodgers?
Yeah, probably. He was a Dodgers prospect at one point.
Probably the worst trade they've made in like the modern Dodgers administration.
Yeah, for Josh Fields.
Right up there with Pedro Martinez.
Well, I'm talking like current version, but yes, definitely bad.
Yeah.
I'm talking like, since the Magic Johnson ownership group.
Yeah, they for Josh Fields. Imagine if they had Jordan right now. They'd probably still have Kyle Tucker because the Dodgers print money and they sign everybody. But
Do you I know I've asked you guys about this before. What do you think that what happened to the Dodgers after the lockout labor agreement? Do you think there'll be some massive tax and they'll just keep doing it, or do you think it will impact them at all, or do you think that it won't go through?
well, the thing with contracts is like, how do you police the ones that have already been signed?
And the deferred money.
Yeah. Like, do you just basically like nerf the deferred money? Or like, nope, it actually has to be paid out throughout these years, which I think just getting rid of deferred money would take so much of the absurdity out of contracts and like where players land.
Sure.
If you can get rid of deferred money, I think that'd be, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I think the Dodgers will find a way to skirt it though. Cause the cap, like if we look at like the NFL salary cap isn't real.
Right.
It's not real.
Right.
It's theoretically there,
Yeah.
but like a team like the Saints was like 160 million above the cap
Yeah.
for like 9 years in a row, and they kept adding talent every year.
What they're going to have to do, Jordan, in the MLB is they're going to have like Larry Bird rights, where like if you're over the cap, you can still sign like your marquee player or something. Because, well, like what's the payroll now for the Dodgers? Is it like 300 million or 200 million? Or it's some insane number, right?
Give me 1 sec. I can let you know.
It's got to be the highest in baseball, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Tax payroll, they are at 416 million.
Yeah. So if you made it 300 million and you made like a 200% tax over that, I mean, that's like Golden State Warriors territory of like, luxury tax. And they could probably do it, but there'd be a point where, I mean, you would think they would have to do something,
Yeah,
I just don't think like I know it's what they quote unquote want in terms of the league, and obviously the owners, like especially like certain owners want it, but like I just don't see how the players could ever give in, and they ultimately do have the power in the sense that like if there's no players, there's no baseball. It's like, that's kind of, for whatever it's worth, baseball is the free market capitalism game. And it's like, if you remove that element of it, it's like, baseball is kind of the only sport where outside of like the huge jump that the NBA happened that one-off season when everyone got, Timothy Mozgov got $70 million and stuff, where there was like this huge quantum leap in money entering the NBA because of the new TV rights and all that. It's like baseball is the only sport where the contracts are able to keep getting sillier and sillier as time progresses to the same extent because there's no restrictions on it.
Is there a salary cap in Premier League? I don't know shit about soccer, so
I don't know.
I always hear they make I always hear they make a ton of money. Like,
I don't.
So I'm guessing
I don't watch it.
And the reason I ask is because if Henry owns Liverpool and there's no cap in Premier League, it would lead me to believe that, well, why do you want it in baseball, but you don't care about, because I've heard like, was it Messi? And I am not a soccer person at all. So I'm not even, I'm kind of, throwing stuff at a dartboard, but I mean, this guy's making like $50-60 million a year, I think, in Premier League.
Yeah. They're making crazy money. I think some guys are even making 100 mil a year.
Right.
Like
they are restricted to spending 85% of their revenue, but whatever their revenue is.
Okay. So, I mean, so the Dodgers technically, probably because of revenue, would not be over their cap because of the money they're bringing in,
especially the Japan money.
Yeah. So I'm wondering, you say, Jack, we're talking about how the players would never agree to a salary cap. Maybe there'd be a revenue thing.
Yeah, something like that could be on the table. That could be something that everyone can at least kind of meet in the middle on.
Yeah.
I think some of it, a lot of what's like the disparity with the league right now is the fact that Shohei Ohtani is on the Dodgers, right?
Yeah.
Like a lot of it is just like, and his contract is so absurd because of the deferred money. But like once he's like, again, we're talking 8 years from now when his contract expires, or maybe it might be fewer than that now because this is year 3 with him in the Dodgers, so 7 more years.
But it's deferred money, Jordan, like you said. So that 480 figure, what is it? 480? Is that what it was?
He's making $2 million a year in cash for the 10 years he's on the Dodgers, and then
Yeah.
$68 million a year the 10 years after
Yeah, so
this
60.
contract expires.
But does
Yeah.
the 60 count on the salary cap this year for the cap numbers? It doesn't, right?
No, it
So their
reduces.
payroll
So
is still
he,
over $400 million, and they can pay him too. That's the more ridiculous.
yeah, it's like it's similar to like with the like signing guys to pre-arb extensions. It keeps the cap hit the same every single year. So like Shohei's cap hit this year is the same as this cap hit will be in like 2037.
Right.
But he's getting paid $68 million in cash in 2037 as opposed to
Yep.
$2 million cash this year. Obviously all of his endorsements and stuff. But like Shohei really like we talked in the NBA when KD signed with the Warriors and it like ruined basketball. Like it really only ruined basketball for like 3 years. Shohei really ruined baseball by signing the deal he signed with the team he signed it with,
He didn't ruin baseball when he was betting on games,
allegedly.
allegedly.
Yeah, but still, I think Shohei Ohtani really ruined baseball, and I'm not saying that like he's obviously a special talent, and I love watching him play. I just think if he had signed with literally any other team, even with the exact same contract, which he did present to other teams, so it wasn't just that he only went to the Dodgers and they gave him the money. But if he was on like even the Blue Jays right now, my life would be hell. But
He was on the plane.
I don't think baseball would be as I don't think 2027 be looked at as like a Grim Reaper kind of year
Yeah.
as it would be
I
with him
agree.
on the Dodgers.
But it's also like, and I think it's, and I agree with you to be very clear before wherever this goes. Like I completely agree. But it's also this thing where it's like, when the Mets first got bought by Steve Cohen and the whole narrative was like, oh, Steve Cohen's going to spend all this money. And he did. And he has. Like every year, the Mets are super high in payroll. And they've only had one good season in that time. And it's like no one now focuses at all on Steve Cohen when they're talking about the lockout and talking about all this stuff as to where at the time it was like, oh, we're going to have Steve Cohen rules. We're going to have Steve Cohen rules. The Mets suck, so no one gives a shit. The Dodgers, every major signing they've had, with the exception of like AJ Pollock, has completely worked. And AJ Pollock still wasn't terrible. He just didn't live up to that contract. But like, you go up and down the list of like Betts and Freeman and Ohtani and all these guys they bring in, they all work out. Like none of them fail. Signing Glasnow to an extension, bringing in Blake Snell, who's been a little injured. Obviously, Yamamoto had the greatest pitching performance I've ever seen in that World Series. Like everything they touch turns to gold. And it's like, everyone's so upset at the Dodgers. And now they brought in Kyle Tucker. Obviously it's way too early to tell on that one, but it's just like, people get all upset over it, but they're just doing a better job than everybody else. Like other teams are spending a lot of money. The Mets are spending a lot of money. The Yankees are spending a lot of money. Not Yankees less than those two, but still a lot of money. They just aren't doing it as well as the Dodgers. And that's why all this frustration gets taken out on them. And I understand the Ohtani contract is stupid. Like it's a stupid contract. But any team could have made the stupid contract. It's just like, I hate seeing the Dodgers win every year because I wish there was a bit more parity. But I also do have this like grudging respect for Andrew Friedman and that operation that they do everything right. It's like, it's hard to like, point a finger at them and be like, you're doing a bad job by doing. It's the same reason people hate Oklahoma City in the NBA right now. It's like every button Oklahoma City has pressed has been the correct button. And people hate the Thunder for pressing every correct button.
Yeah, their AJ Pollock is trading for Gordon Hayward.
Yeah.
And like process wise, that made sense. And AJ Pollock is a name I completely forgot existed. Like that's up there with Dwight Evans, Baltimore Orioles level of like what? Completely forgot he was a person, let alone a Los Angeles
I guess the
Dodger.
Chris Taylor extension failed, but like once again, it's like who cares?
Yeah,
Like,
I mean Tommy Edmonds extension too. Like he's been pretty bad since he was like a postseason hero in 2024. But like again, we're talking. I mean, they're an all-star team. They can afford to get a little ridiculous on the margins of the roster, and it's fine. Like Teoscar Hernandez, the re-signing of him, he's not been very good the last year plus. Like he's been like a fringe average bat, but they're so stacked around him that he can be a bad contract and it's fine because they have so many. Like Mookie Betts, objectively, not a productive player for the kind of contract he's at right now at this stage of his career. But I mean, obviously, the player he was going into last season is a little different, and you make that trade 100 times out of 100 if you're the Dodgers. But this is a weird organization because they've let Cody Bellinger walk, and Cody's a good player.
yeah,
They let Trey Turner and
Corey
Corey
Seager.
Seager walk in consecutive off seasons. They let Max Scherzer walk after 2021. So like they let guys go.
Zach Greinke.
Zach Greinke they let go, and that was the perfect time to do that as well. But they are very good at just like knowing when is the right time to let a guy go, or just having a guy that they can slot in behind him. And granted, when they let Seager and Trey Turner go, they thought Gavin Lux was going to be that guy, and he wasn't. But like
Turns out it was Mookie Betts.
It turns out it was Mookie Betts, but they had a top prospect that was like on the precipice of being a big leaguer where it's like, okay, we have a star-studded team around him. We can see if Gavin Lux is anything. And then if it's just so happens to have to be Mookie Betts, I guess it'll have to be Mookie Betts. And Miguel Rojas and Kike Hernandez and Tommy Edman. But you're right. I mean, it's annoying. They spend so much damn money. They sign like a guy hits free agency and it's like they're going to be a Dodger. And so very often that is the case. But like you said, you got to respect it too, because like there's no rule in place stopping them from signing these guys. They plug holes on their roster with cream of the crop talent. That's what teams should be doing. Oh, we need a right fielder. Let's go sign the best one available. Let's not go tap into the Michael Conforto market instead of Kyle Tucker, which ironically the Dodgers had Michael Conforto last year.
I was gonna say that is exactly what they did, but
they didn't trade for Kyle Tucker. Kyle Tucker was would have been a trade ship. But like we're not going to tap into this bottom of the barrel free agent pull or platoon bat. We're going to go sign the best guy available. Oh, we need another reliever. Let's go sign Edwin Diaz. Let's not go tap into the Tommy Kahnle market, or let's not trade for Ryan Watson in the Rule 5 draft. How about we go get an elite level closer and add him to the bullpen? They do it every single year. That's what the best teams should do. And unfortunately, not all those teams operate like that. The Mets just throw stupid money at every player they sign. So people are like, look at how busy the Mets are getting. And it's like Jorge Polanco for 20 plus mil. Like, that's not a good sign. That's not a good contract. Trading for Marcus Semien. Like, you added payroll, or you slightly cut payroll, but you got a much worse player in doing so, trading Nimmo for Marcus Semien. Like, they have a $380 million payroll, and like 60% of it is their top 4 players in salary. And they're not good for, like, their pitching staff sucks ass. It's just brutal. But yeah, Red Sox lose 4-1. We're up against 2 hours. We need to wrap this thing up. Shall we? Let's preview this upcoming series with the Phillies. Monday's an off day, rare Monday off day for the Red Sox. So nothing, you guys, hey, enjoy the fact the Red Sox cannot ruin your Monday. I was half expecting the Red Sox to make a trade at Mother's Day dinner because when I was at Father's Day dinner last year, they traded Devers. So
imagine
I thought
they bring Devers back on Father's Day this year.
Oh, the Giants want to trade everybody that's making anything above league minimum right now. That's going to be a fascinating thing to watch as the season progresses. I bet Rafi's on a different team. They won't shed his entire contract, obviously, but I would not be shocked if Rafael Devers is on another team
The Dodgers.
in like 6 weeks. If he's a Dodger, we will be disbanding this podcast. I will not be able to watch baseball. I'll take up like badminton or something. We'll be the best here report will be a badminton podcast. Oh, we could just transition to the WPBL. We could do that because there's a Boston team. We'll do that. But anyway, So yeah, Monday off day. Tuesday 6:45 start time. We've got Brian Bayo. Well, it's an opener, but Brian Bayo will be the bulk guy coming in after him. Bayo's got a 7.44 ERA, but was awesome against Detroit. Against Zach Wheeler, yikes. Wheeler's got a 3.12
He
ERA.
came
He's made,
back so fast from that injury.
and he's looked fantastic. He's still kind of on a little bit of a pitch count. He's not going super deep into games. He's averaging about 5 innings a start. I think he's at like 18 or 19 innings in 4 starts. 3.12 is his ERA though. Game 2, 6:45 p.m. start on Wednesday. Sonny Gray on the mound with a 3.54 ERA. Mr. I Know Whiff against Andrew Painter, 6.89 is his ERA. And then game 3, Ranger Suarez in his revenge game, potentially 2.77 is his ERA versus Jesus Luzardo, who, if ERA is your number one metric for analyzing a starter, you think he's having a terrible year. His underlying metrics are ridiculous. He's been fantastic his last couple of times out, but he's got a 5.98 ERA on the season overall. That's also a 6:45 first pitch. That is on Thursday. Brian, what's the Red Sox record in this series?
Well, I didn't see the sweep against the Tigers happening, and it happened. So you know what? Sweep.
Dang. All right. Jack?
I'm a bit less optimistic. I love the energy. I really do. I think Zach Wheeler is going to absolutely just shove. They might get no hit on Tuesday. The way this offense plays, Wheeler's that good, in the conversation for the best free agent signing ever, or at least in modern. What a incredible signing that was, especially for the money. He's incredible. Bayo was better against Detroit and maybe is rounding back into quality mid-rotation arm, but he's not Zach Wheeler. Zach Wheeler is one of the 10 best pitchers on the planet, even if he's on a pitch count. So I think they're going to lose that game. I like them Wednesday at home. Gray's been good and Painter's been awful. I think they win that one. So then it comes down to Thursday, where it really could go either way. But I just don't trust that this team can score runs, especially with how many lefty bats are in the lineup. And I don't know if Contreras is going to play at all in this series. I don't know if he's going to be good to go on Tuesday. He's a question mark at this point. I don't see how they score runs off Luzardo either, as one of the better lefties in the game. So I think they go 1-2. They win the middle game against Painter.
I am going to turn this into a little bit of a bit because I had them getting swept in Detroit and I reverse engineered a sweep. I actually genuinely do not think the Red Sox win a game in this series.
Wow.
Again, we're at a point now where, like Jack said, they don't score runs. Andrew Painter's got a 6.89 ERA. You know what I say to that? That ERA is way too high for the Red Sox to do anything against him. Oddly enough, I think the most runs they score off a starter will be against Zach Wheeler on Tuesday. And I still would not be shocked if it was 1. Andrew Painter is an incredibly talented arm. We saw what Mick Abel did to them in Minnesota. And I think they're kind of cut from the same cloth as far as arm talent is concerned. I think Painter's going to obliterate them. Jesus Luzardo is going to do the same. There's no Romy Gonzalez there to save them with a grand slam. Maybe Andre Monasterio, but the only downside of that is 3 guys have to get on base in order for Monasterio to hit the grand slam, and I don't think they can do that. I don't think 3 out of 5 guys can get on base in a row.
God, I miss Romy.
He should be. Apparently, he thinks he'll be back in the minimum amount of time post-op, which would be June
with
12th.
Complete sincerity, with Roman out, let's assume Roman's out and Contreras is fine. Fill in the blank. Romy is the what best hitter on the Red Sox?
3rd?
Yeah. It's just Abreu and Contreras.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And maybe would it's probably I'm probably either or on it being Yoshida 3rd, but it's Romy Gonzalez. Regardless, it's Romy Gonzalez. If you want to put him 4th definitively, that's ridiculous. That's really bad.
And I say this as someone who loves Romy. This isn't meant to be shade at Romy. It's just he should not be asked to save the season. That's insane.
But hey, we're gonna do it anyway. come back soon, Romy Gonzalez, because
If
right now
Contreras does miss time with this injury, he could be second, and that's terrifying.
the sad reality right now is if Wilson Contreras, thankfully this off day happens tomorrow, so we can get an extra day. Wilson can just rest, and hopefully it's just nothing. He can come back on Tuesday. But there's a very real chance Mickey Gasper is the second best hitter in a Red Sox lineup against Zach Wheeler in May. If this were February 26th, okay, sure. The regulars haven't started playing yet. The regulars are playing. It is May 10th. Mickey Gasper might be the second best hitter in the Red Sox lineup on Tuesday. Brutal. Absolutely brutal. So yeah, I have the Red Sox getting swept. Jack has them winning one of three, and Brian, the optimist. Someone had to be it.
That's right.
And he has the Sox sweeping. If that happens, I don't know. I'll buy you lobster.
Is shoe eating back on the table?
I might do a shoey. I might chug a, I don't even know. It won't be booze. Maybe I'll do the Sprite challenge out of my shoe if the Red Sox sweep the
Will it be
Phillies.
out of an edible crock?
No, because I'm not eating it. But I will pour Sprite into my shoe and chug it, and we will do the Sprite challenge on the next weekend show.
Okay.
I've
never wanted the Red Sox to sweep more in my life. The World Series means far less to me than this mid-May series against a below 500 Phillies team.
You got to start somewhere.
Yeah, a below 500 Phillies team that also fired their manager. But
really wanted Alex Cora.
They've been playing really well lately too.
Donnie Baseball.
Yeah. Going into the Hall of Fame as Phillies manager instead of a Yankees first baseman.
God, that would be so funny.
That would be hilarious. Any final thoughts? I know we've had a lot of thoughts shared on this 2 hour and 5 minute episode, but we talked very little about the series, by the way. There was no talk. I mean, again, like I said, we can't recap this series until July because that's when Game 4 will be played.
Yeah, the copy and paste on this episode is going to be crazy because we're going to have to talk about a whole nother game. I mean,
yeah, do I just take this audio and then just insert Game 4 analysis on July 17th into the middle of it somewhere and just repost it?
Gotta do it.
Repost it as a bonus
people
episode.
listening to this, I'm sorry in advance, but
be a 3 hour episode
on
2 hours and 10 minutes of it being stuff that people already heard.
Right.
Anyway, that'll do it for this edition of the Pesky Report. Again, if you have made it to this point of the episode, you must either really hate us or you love us. I mean, again, if you hate us, you're more inclined to talk about us like Jaron Duran fans and haters are concerned. This is brought to you by Beyond the Monster. Again, you can go over to tjstats.ca, promo code PESKY for 25% off your first month. Again, a phenomenal tool over there. You can follow him on Twitter at tjstats. You can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at The Pesky Report. Finally got over 1,000 followers over there on the Instagram. We're approaching 2,000 on Twitter. Subscribe to us on YouTube. You can follow us on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. I'm running out of steam. It is 11:30 p.m. I've been up since 7. I'm exhausted. Low key exhausted right now. I'm starting to get delirious. I'm about to have a visit from the Hat Man in about 5-10 minutes. So for Jack and Brian, I'm Jordan. Until next time, peace out and go Sox.
This is called the Pesky Report.